And there we are. I do believe that we are live. So we're going to get right to it because this special sponsor, um, none of this would even be possible without his support, period. And I don't think he needs an introduction, but I'll let him introduce himself. But I will introduce him as my husband. So hello, Mr. Charles Printon.
Hello, Mrs. Elena Rodriguez slash Princeton.
All right. So let's talk about you and Christmas in July and all the things. It took me a minute to figure out why we couldn't even get your own StreamYard up. So that's kind of crazy. So I apologize.
Better you than me because I'd have still been at it,
Yep.
although
There we
I've
go.
gotten a lot better.
All right.
Okay,
So let's talk about you.
all right, let's talk about me. My name is Charles Prinzen, aka Coach Chuck, your locker room coach in this game of life. I'm the CEO and founder of Follow Your Dreams Athletics and a new host for Game Changers on Prospera TV Network, all put together by my beautiful wife, the president and creator of Prospera TV Network. Uh, I am the CEO and founder, like I said, but I want everybody to know that I just found it. You know, it just came to me one day, like things come to Elena. I found Follow Your Dreams Athletics. Actually, it was going to be athletics or sports or whatever, and I had conversation with their sons, and they said, you know, athletics sounds pretty good. So Follow Your Dreams Athletics. I am the founder. I just found it, and I believe in it because I've been coaching for almost 50 years now, still in sports at almost 70. And I am the CEO, but I am not your chief executive officer kind of guy. I just have courage educating others. You know, and this is why it's so important for me to be on this. This is now my third year. Yes, this is my third year with you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I was like, it's our fourth year, but you're right. It's
no,
your third year with us, with me.
yep. You've had four, but I didn't miss the first one and been on since 2022, I believe.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is my third year, and that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm really working hard to try to put together my game changers on the Prospera TV network. But I have to, you know, it's like anything else, I have to do it my way. And my way is always being there to help our youth, help their parents, and you know, have a better tomorrow for those that have not been, how you say, have not been in the right environment. So
Yeah.
it really honors me to be part of this Christmas in July with you, Elena, and uh, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, we've got Allegra on here that says, family, you two are awesome. Keep on inspiring. And then she says, yes, love Prosperity TV Network. But let's dive into a little bit of why you're so passionate about game changers. Because I think many people know what you do now, but they don't know why sports. They don't know what got you into doing so much with sports to begin with.
Well, we got to go way back, but I've always had sports in my life, even when I was a kid growing up. I don't care if it was kickball or some type of sports. And then I had a really negative childhood, like a really nightmare childhood. And for 13 years, I lived in the most ugliest, abusive, domestic violence, alcohol, and child abuse at the hands of my stepdad. From 3 years old until 16, and then I ran away and I got adopted by a widowed Japanese lady with two daughters. And her oldest daughter actually became my sister, but she was my mentor prior to, and she would be somebody that I could go to and release the poison of the environment that I lived in because my parents went out binging for many times. One time they dropped me off at a grandma's for the weekend. I thought, oh, cool, man, I'll be here for the weekend. No trauma, no pain, you know, no beatings. And they went to Hawaii for 2 years and didn't say anything. So I was at the hands of one of my grandmas. But when I ran away, I got adopted, and prior to my sophomore year in high school, 1972, I had attended 27 schools.
Like that just blows my mind. 27 schools.
18 elementaries, 9 junior high schools, and then one high school got started, got into sports, and then I ran away and I got adopted. And so sports was in my life. Sports kept me off the street. Sports kept me uh, tuned in because in order to participate in sports or any activities in high school, and the sports kept me away from home in the very beginning before I ran away. Late night swims, football practice, whatever. And the longer I stayed away, the better I was not going home. So sports was an incentive for me. But in order for me to be able to participate in sports, now you got to imagine 18 elementary schools, 9 junior high schools. Before I hit high school, that is an average of 3 schools per year from first grade to ninth grade. Because back in those days, they didn't have freshman, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th, 12th grade. They had 3, sophomore, junior, and senior. And so going into my sophomore year at Long Beach Poly, I got into the band. I did football games. That was exciting. Let's see, my first year I ran track. I did water polo and I swam. I actually lettered in 5 sports in the 3 years that I was, because sports kept me tuned in. Mm-hmm. Sports kept me out of trouble. And even more so when I ran away and I got in a more positive environment with my foster family, that made a big difference on me. And so along with teachers, coaches, administration, counselors working with me from my 28th school, I finally was able to settle down. And if it wasn't for my teachers, my coaches, administration, even a principal that knew me in one of my 9 junior highs, did something very special for me on graduation night. Maybe we can get into it another time. But it was proof to me that the education part was very important, and it will definitely help you if you engage, like doing extra credit. I never failed one time. I don't know if it's because they didn't want me to come back, all those years, or
they just kept moving you along.
But I never got held back, and it was just amazing.
But let me ask you something. Like, even though you were going through all of that, like, were you like a trouble in the classroom, or you just were like moved from school to schools all the time? Were you like a troublemaker, or were you trying to do good in school?
No, I just went with the flow because when the parents would fight, look, when I say ugly, Freddy Krueger ain't got nothing on my ugly. Yeah. I saw my mom stabbed with knives. I saw her beat up. I saw the alcohol. They would have parties and get kicked out because eventually they would end up fighting and destroying things. So we moved a lot based on the carnage that my parents had while they were in an alcoholic stage. Mm-hmm. The other part of that is my mother and my stepdad would break up and we'd come back. We'd break up and we'd come back. We'd go on welfare. We were off welfare. We were on welfare. We were off welfare. We were at a hotel. We were at a grandmother's house. We bounced, and then always came back to the ugly. Mm-hmm. Until I ran away again at 13. And that's when my life changed. And so I have coached since 1975. Even when I was in high school, my senior year, I always wanted to give back to. I wanted to give hope to our youth. So 3 periods a day, first, second, and third. Look, I took care of my grades. Okay. I had to carry a 2.0 in order to participate in the sports that I love to be in: football, track, water polo, wrestling, swimming, and the band. I had to carry a certain grade in order to participate. And that gave me the incentive. It does not take much to get a C. It definitely doesn't take that much to get a D. But, I carried a 2.6, which is not bad considering 18 elementaries, 9 juniors, and then 1 high school. But 3 periods a day across the street at an elementary school, Roosevelt Elementary, in a kindergarten class. And the class was so big that the teacher ended up taking who she believed was going to go on to the first grade and then let me have the other ones. Mm. And because they weren't gonna make it on to first grade. Well, I gave them hope, I gave them inspiration, I gave them love. Mm-hmm. I gave them something that I did not. Well, maybe I did. I just don't remember because it was just too much ugly. I don't really remember my education unless it was high school. But prior to that, I just went through the motions. Yeah. And but I gave them hope and I gave them inspiration, and I was up front with them like a big brother or a grandpa. And some of them went on to the first grade to surprise the teacher because I took that extra time like was given to me, even across the street at the high school, because my high school was right across the street. I just had to crosswalk, okay? Wow. To get back to school. But I took care of my business. My sophomore year, my junior year, I took care of my business. My senior year was mostly electives and stuff. It was cruise. It was all cruise. Mm-hmm. But again, sports kept me in, good coaches. So when I graduated, I decided to take up coaching. And my very first coaching job was with my Uncle Ed. It was a 12 and under boys rec basketball at a park in Carson, California, 12 and under boys basketball. And I was hooked. And I've been coaching ever since.
Wow. So is that what brings you to having the passion for Follow Your Dreams Athletics today?
Yes, Follow Your Dreams Athletics is about following your dreams. If anybody follows me at all, then you know that you've seen pictures of me in front of football players, in front of basketball players, okay? And in most cases, knowing what their dreams are. See, I got almost 50 years of coaching under my belt since 1975. Actually, I think it is 50 years. And I always believed in my dreams, and my dreams was just to get out of the ghetto, you know, to become a better person. But it wasn't easy. And so that if I could help others, more so our youth, as a coach. See, good coaches coach X's and O's. Great coaches coach life. And I am Coach Chuck, your life coach, you know, where we build character and self-esteem and self-respect, all within our youth to give them the incentive to do better for themselves. And so, yes, I do it because I have young men that are played in the NFL. I have one particular one that's still playing in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. Wow. I've had D1 players. I've had girls that have gone on to college and played basketball. I've coached track, football, basketball, boys and girls, and then obviously I am a mentor. I probably spent 22 years in the school system as either a coach or I worked at high school.
And, you know, one of the things that I think is like really cool, because of course I get to see some behind the scenes stuff too, is how many that you're still in touch with today. How many that are young adults or have families of their own, but you're still coach.
Well, see, that's what Follow Your Dreams Athletics is about. Or let's just go with follow your dreams. Mm-hmm. It does not have to be athletics. If you are in a negative environment and you want so much to feel the energy, the positivity, that, you know, put the smile on your face rather than always walking around with an attitude, you have to start making changes within yourself. Because those traits, and I talk about traits because little did I know growing up, I had traits that attached themselves to me, and one of them was domestic violence, the other was child abuse, and I went and sought help when I asked myself, "What am I doing?" Mm-hmm. And so the doctor told me that my stepdad was coming out of me, that his traits had attached themselves to me, and so look, all I know is this. I have seen in my years young men that were terrible, that were very defensive, that were very vicious, sometimes looking to throw down on a vice principal when I was in the office as a security. And that was based from the environment that they live in. Our youth are victims of the environment, like I was, victims of the environment that they live in. And if they live in a negative environment, then they're going to have an attitude at home, even at school. And then at school, I have found that some teachers don't want anything to do with them. You know, they want to just push them off. They come to school on Monday now to they give them a slip for 3 days in detention for first period. You can't do that. I fought against that. I've worked with youth to let them know that there are people that really care out there, that really want to see them follow their dreams in whatever it may be. And some of them, like I said, that one young man, he is now a father of two. He is a union carpenter. He is a great father. Another one that I've known for 20 something years once asked me, Uncle, man, I don't know, man, based on my childhood, because, you know, you talk about coaching, you coach me up about generational cycles and breaking that. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I'm going to be a good father. Coach, I just don't know. Well, let's fast forward. 33 years old, a father of three, happily married, and is doing the best job he can do as a father, doing the things to his children that were not given to him because he made some game changes within his game plan. And that's what basically becomes a game changer. A game changer is somebody that changes the playing field that they were on, and which was defensive, and turned it into offensive, where they were moving the chains and gaining yardage and feeling good about themselves, only to want more and more. And as they went, they broke those cycles, and they followed their dreams to be. I had one young man that was a football player, got a hold of me and said, Coach, I need you to come down and campaign with me, 400 miles away. I had not seen him in years. I had him in 2006. I had him my sophomore year, or his sophomore year. I was the head freshman coach. And he says, I need for you to come down and help me out, Coach. He played with the Chargers. He played with the Ravens. Come down and campaign. What are you campaigning for? I'm campaigning for mayor, Coach. Mayor, 27 years old. Wow, mayor. Okay, where? Compton. If anybody knows anything, I don't think that people don't know about Compton somewhere, whether it's in songs, Gangsters, Crippin', AC Deucin, whatever. He was raised in Compton, but he took a bus every day to get there, and then after football practice, somebody would pick him up and take him back home, all the way from Compton, which is about 20 miles from the high school. So bus and transit. Wow. And I actually went the next day. I was down in Compton with him, because once family, always family. Blood, sweat, tears, and years on the football field or whatever cause you to become pretty close. And so I went down and I campaigned for him, and that was to be able to watch our youth follow, not just follow, but actually allow or make those dreams come true based on changing their attitude, changing their mindset, changing their self-worth, their self-esteem, and their self-respect for each other. That's what Game Changers is all about. People that have gone down that path, people that have changed their game plan from a negative to a positive, and they want to share that experience with others.
That's awesome. And so that brings me to wanting to know, like, with your show coming out, Game Changers, are you looking for guests? Or like, if somebody is listening to this and like, that's me, that I took the negative and changed it to a positive, and I did this and I want to share my story. Do you take guests on your show that will be coming out?
Oh, absolutely. Let me give you a variety. I was writing that down today because I'm getting ready to try and tip off my very first show on Prospera. But Coach Chuck has got to get to his dry ease board and start working on some plays and put it together so I'm comfortable how I deliver. You see, I agreed to be a show host on Prospera TV network based on my knowing how to coach life, how to coach the game of life, because life is a game. Okay. Anybody ever played Monopoly? Play it and really get into it. Okay. that was 1934 that somebody had a vision, and we're still playing it today. So you know, I just believe that uh, in order for us to understand how difficult it was for other people's environment, how they grew up, the only way we can be more aware of, I was a domestic violent, I was a child abuser until I went and became aware because the psychiatrist told me that my stepdad was coming out. I became aware that I was a child abuser. I became aware that I was domestic violent. I became aware that I did too much alcohol. But until that, I just lived my life, day by day. And so, Game Changers is about anybody. I have young ladies that live in Texas that moved back from Texas to, you know that you've heard me talk about them, and that have moved around that were terrible in high school. Terrible. I mean, gang banging or doing drugs and alcohol and catching attitude. Always in the office. And then I talked to them. I gave them some game changing plans that took a while for them to use, but now that they're using them, they are parents.
Wow.
They actually have gone out and became nurses, or they have prospered in a career that they wanted to do, and they went out and they followed their dream. So it's not just about football players or athletes, or it's about anybody that we're looking for. Anybody that has learned how to put a smile on somebody's face and put warmth in their heart based on where they came from.
That's key right there.
Yeah, because have you ever heard you sound just like your mom or you act just like your dad? It's true. No, it's true.
I know. You are your father's daughter.
and so, and you ask the youth that, because I speak a lot in schools. I've spoke all over the country, and you ask them how they feel about that particular uh, parent situation, and they'll say, "Oh, I don't like it. I don't like acting like my mom, or in a negative way." Well, guess what? If you're not happy with how they are treating you, you have to learn how to treat yourself differently. And then continue like I did. And I'm not bragging. I just played the game of life. I just went through all the channels, man, and I went around that monopoly board a few times. I went to jail a few times. Okay, okay. I had to go to the hospital a few times. So the bottom line is this, Elena, is that the reason why I have dedicated myself to being part of your Christmas in July is because, how do you say, you give it's hope. How you say it?
Help one person every day.
Help one person every day.
Help one person every day.
You have HOPE, okay? And I have many, but never forget where you come from. Never forget where you come from. And if you follow that, because I go out, I go out I've gone all over, I get into many states and just get a wild hair in my ear and decide that I'm going to go to the ghetto or I'm going to go somewhere. I did that right here in Fort Wayne last year. Or go somewhere and find a homeless person or somebody that's standing on the corner that's not doing well, and do a random act of kindness. And then not only do a random act of kindness, but make sure you pick up some trash on that day. So if everybody picked up a piece of trash and did one good deed every single day, we would be a happier, healthier world. Yeah. And that's what Game Changers are about. Game Changers are about people that have had ugly and gone through a change from negative to positive, because it feels a lot better to have a smile on your face than a frown. Okay. And it feels good that you go out there and you spread that to others. That's what we
I,
need more of this world today. That's what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only
amen.
thing. There's just too little love. It's true.
Amen. I believe it. I believe it. So I feel kind of as we get ready to wrap up this like segment, because you're gonna be spending a lot of time with me during the stream-a-thon. So people are gonna have to tune in late at night and just get it, because who knows where our conversation will go.
I haven't got my schedule. I haven't got my schedule yet, but I am alert. I do know that I'm on a 24-hour call basis.
So when people tune in on Saturday, they're gonna first they need to go to YouTube and find us on Prosperity TV Network, and then subscribe and watch us from there. But one of the things that I've been asking all the sponsors, and it is kind of weird to ask you because like you're my husband and I can go into the kitchen and like see you right now, but I've been asking all the sponsors to, if there's a question, what is one thing that you would want to ask me? Um, and it's open. What is one question that you have for me right now?
Wow, I got to go through the Rolodex. I mean, if somebody answered right away, then okay, you got to think about that because
Yeah.
you
Well,
want
then
you want to.
maybe we'll make that a to be continued and bring that to the stream-a-thon so that we can keep going with the sponsors and stuff that we have
Okay,
tonight.
so so if we can do that and tune in for the 24-hour stream-a-thon for Christmas in July, because I can come out at any time, and Elena might end up. We might be doing a 2-segment, 2-hour, whatever, talking about. So I'm going to probably give this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
How did you know I was the one?
Oh, oh, that's a good one. I might need to bring you back on here in a minute. We might
You
to
asked
be
the question.
continued.
Okay.
I got an
What
answer for that one, but
I'm sure you do, and it's
yeah,
probably a long one.
yeah. So we're gonna we'll be back with that one. So but what I can say is we're excited for this Saturday. And number one, people just need to know that none of this would actually be possible without your support of me and the work that I pour into all of these passion projects of mine. So I just want to say thank you for everyone to see that you are appreciated. And it really wouldn't be possible if you weren't here as a pillar of support for me. So thank you.
And I'd like to end with anybody that'd like to come on and be part of the 24-hour Christmas in July. Elena and I will be talking about Christmas Eve. I'm going to end with this. Elena and I got together from 5,667 miles away. I lived in Hawaii. And some know, some don't. And hopefully we'll have plenty of people come on that want to hear this story, because that's what it's all about. Hope is that we are widow and widower on the same day, just different years. So Christmas in July means something to me because Christmas Eve 2022, 2021, I lost my significant other.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve 2018, Elena lost her husband. And we both prayed for a brighter tomorrow. And here we are.
And there we are. All righty, love. Thank you for joining us tonight. And it'll be a to be continued. We'll come back. All right. Bye-bye. All right. So that was like totally awesome. So we're going to move right into the next sponsor that we have. And I am like so excited to be able to bring her on up here. And we're just going to get right to it. So Miss Roxy Rocker. Hey, beautiful. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yay. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for
so
being
good to be
here.
seen.
Yes, we see you. So tell us, number one, you're sponsoring the Christmas in July Stream-a-thon, which will be airing this weekend. But tell us why. What made you decide to want to sponsor this year?
I've watched you do it over the years, and I've watched a little bit of it, but I haven't been able to be a part of it. And because I've been busy at my studio, and this summer is just a little bit slower, but I'm also kind of expanding myself a little bit more, and I'm putting myself out in the world a little bit more. And so it was kind of a, well, it's time to do something. It's just time to kind of elevate and be kind of more out. And, but I also know that there's a hope and there's a cause,
Mhm.
and that's important to me. And, when we're trying to make differences in the world, even when people don't always see it or understand it, we're trying to make differences in the world.
For sure, for sure. So let's talk about you and the
Mm.
difference that you are making in the world. Because let me tell you, whatever flip switched, you are making your difference and you are in momentum and you are in go mode. So tell
Mhm.
everyone, like, what's your business? What are you doing pouring out into the world? Just where do
Yeah.
you start?
Well, in my day to day, I live in my studio, and I don't live here, but I spend a lot of time in my studio, and I am a healer and a therapeutic practitioner, and I do wellness work. So that's my day to day. That's what I do every single day, and how I kind of make my money to live.
Mhm.
I was born with disabilities. I was born with a learning disability, and I was born with a discrepancy in my leg. They did a surgery on my leg on my left side and messed it all up and made things worse. So I've had disabilities my entire life, childhood, just lifetime of that. And it's been, I always wanted to be a special ed teacher, but because of my disability, I couldn't become one. But I became a disability educator.
Mhm.
So my past life, I was a job developer, and I did a lot of resources and research on how to help people get through some of life problems. Just that was what I did.
Mhm.
And now I own a magazine, and I'm going to toot you for about 10 seconds here. And because of you and the dynamics person that you are, I went on your new train of Prospera TV, which I heard a rumor that this is going to be on. So then they'll
Mhm.
also know about all of our shows. And I heard an ultimate yes that I had to join, because I have a media company. I own a magazine called Embracing Disability.
Yeah.
I didn't want that magazine to just be called Embracing Disability when I did the show. So I'm calling that show Embracing What's Possible with Roxy. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, I believe in people with disabilities, even when people don't understand my beliefs on that, even when people don't understand, and my beliefs can be different from other people's beliefs.
Mhm.
But my belief is, and I also had this when I was a job developer,
Okay.
about passion,
Mhm.
about capability, expectation, and about the whole concept of that we are enough. And a lot of times people with disabilities hear how they're not worthy, they're not capable, you can't really do that, it's not really for you. Why are you even thinking that that could happen?
Mhm.
And it's really distracting and disturbing that, like, it a lot of times just doesn't feel like the door is open.
Mhm.
Sometimes even when I'm in disability circles, I'm misunderstood,
Mhm.
I'm not accepted, and I'm not part of the nothing with us without us.
Yeah.
You,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like funny because it's like that's my world. And but because I'm a visionary and because I think differently, I don't always get accepted
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
understood, because I want to believe that we can be elevated and uplifted. I want to believe that your capability is more than you think your capability is. And, I don't always write for the magazine. I have a wonderful young lady who actually is the writer. She does a lot of content. She
Nice.
worked really hard on a bill, the beautiful bill. And there's a new article that she just wrote, and she has cerebral palsy, and she's becoming even more of a talented writer.
Nice.
So, it's the encouragement and the empowerment of wanting that, you know? Um, I want those things for others. But sometimes I'm seen like, well, you're so bold or you're so big. And it's like, yeah, sure I am.
Mhm.
Because you know how much I've had to fight to get to where I'm at?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how much I've had to like, not give up because of everything that could have been taken from me?
Mhm.
I have to work. I
Yeah.
have to work for it because it's going to be not exactly harder for me like now,
Hmm.
but it was harder for me before.
Yeah. Now, did you find, like, in certain circumstances, did you find that people would take advantage of you or use that to their advantage at times?
Mm, no, I felt they
No.
made fun of
Good.
me and mocked me.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was more put down than taken advantage of.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
One person tried to take advantage of me, actually. Only
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
And that happened like a couple of years ago when we went to Nashville. So one person, which is really funny.
There you go. There you go. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, it's really funny. Like one person tried to take advantage of me and made it about them and like that they were taking care of me, and I was like, no, I'm actually taking care of myself. I'm good.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
more the making fun of your, well, we don't really believe in you,
Mm.
or it's more of that. I've been more mocked and ridiculed and pretty much, just you're just really not good enough. You can't really be a therapist. You don't really know how to do the training well. Why did you make that mess? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
more people would just ridicule me.
Yeah. Wow. And so that's why you say. So that's why you're here. That's why you're loud. That's why you do your thing,
Mhm.
because you've had to push through all of
Yeah.
that and say, no, I can still do it. I am
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
And I own two businesses. I don't own just one.
Yeah.
I own two, and I'm literally celebrating right now the 10-year anniversary of my massage license, which is a big deal.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That
that's
is a
10
big deal.
years.
10
It's a
years.
big
Like,
deal. I'm having a huge party tomorrow.
woo!
So yeah, let's celebrate. So yeah, so I want to encourage people to celebrate things.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what my whole thing is. Embracing disability means that we embrace our disability. We don't get rid of the word disability. We don't get rid of the language around disability.
Mhm.
The ADA says that there was a record of that disability. Well, if there's a record of it, you have one.
Yeah. Yeah. That
And
makes
and
perfect
and
sense.
is and is it an unfortunate thing? Well, it's an unfortunate thing that society labeled us. It's
Mm-hmm.
an unfortunate thing that society said that this was wrong.
Yes. Yes. Or
That's the
different
unfortunate
even.
part.
Yeah,
Right.
it is,
Because it was
because
over there, not we could have been part of society, but like society said no.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And like we're over there. But I want us to all be together. I want it to be inclusion.
Yeah, and you are proving that by coming
Yes.
forward and taking action on the things that you want to change.
Mhm.
You're not just sitting back and saying, like,
No.
I wish this would change and hoping somebody does it. You are
Right.
stepping forward and doing your part. And that's what, like, that's why
Mhm.
when I see you, you are just such a light and you just bring such joy, because, and you have from the
Mhm.
beginning, because you remain true to your heart and you do
Yeah,
everything with pure intention,
I
but
do.
you're a fierce
I am a
force.
fierce. I'm a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
I am a force to be
I'm
reckoned
just
with.
gonna
And it
say
can
you are.
scare people. It can
Yeah,
really scare people, but I'm not intentionally doing that
yeah.
to harm anyone or to be in anyone's way. I
Mhm.
literally want to embrace you like this, like, and just hold you in my arms, or get you on my table and support you. I literally, that's how big of the heart is, but it's misunderstood a lot
Uh-huh.
because I am a force. I'm big. I'm bold, and I want you to know. And one of the things, like the magazine is in front of me.
Mhm.
Magazine.
Very nice.
The
Very nice.
magazine came out a year ago. I called it Inspiring Disability, and the disability world got mad at me because, we can't have inspiring and disability together because that means inspiration porn.
Oh,
So, welcome to
wow.
Embracing Disability. And now, with a TV show and moving everything up into a different elevated place,
Yeah.
what is exciting is I need a tangible object,
Mhm.
a tangible something that can say, okay, well, how can something that's natural to the everyday world show you about disability and accessibility?
Mhm.
So I have in the most incredible idea in the universe to be a force to reckon with, to make clothing.
Yeah, I love it.
And clothing we all need to wear.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not trying to become the new fashion executive. I don't want to be Victoria's Secret. I don't want to be Gap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be Rock's Ease. And because I'm going to be Rock's Ease, is I want to educate you, the society, on what's possible with clothing.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get mom, grandma, sister, friend dressed easier if they have a problem? And doesn't mean that their problem is just in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people with disabilities that are not in a wheelchair. A wheelchair user is one disability.
Mm-hmm.
There are hundreds of them that we
Mm-hmm.
don't even know the names of.
Yeah.
And there might be somebody who's able bodied who literally has a problem with their arm,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe their shoulder is up too high, or maybe they have a neurological disorder that really affects them. And when they're having severe pain, or maybe their fibromyalgia is so severe that it's hard to dress
Yeah. Yeah. Or do buttons.
or
Button to
do
button this.
buttons. And so, what if we had closures on them with magnets?
Yeah.
What if we had Velcro? What if the sleeves opened easier?
Oh my God,
And
I
you could
love it.
get your arms in it. But we don't know. We have prototypes coming. So we're going to look at the prototype and try to figure it out.
Very
Because
cool.
how do I know? I've never done fashion before, like I've never done a magazine before.
Yep.
So
And like I
I
never
don't
done
know.
TV before. Now you're speaking my
Right?
language where it's like, hey, let's try it. See what happens. Let's do it,
Right?
and
Let's
see what
have media companies, girl. High five the media companies.
comes.
So, but I mean, that's the whole thing. And I'm not perfect. I'm just me. And, and all that I'm trying to do is make the world a better place with an open heart and an open hug, and waiting for that hug to come, because a hug knows no disability. And
Yes.
I want the whole disability movement to understand that empowerment and education are the really most important pieces.
Yeah. And it really is. Empowerment, but even just education from all angles of
Yes.
it all. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
All walks of life. And it's like, I don't like that I have to interrupt sometimes at meetings, or, or somebody was like, oh, why'd you say that online? Oh, crap. What did I say? I don't even know what I said. I just wrote something with passion and came out all wrong, and I fumbled.
I love it.
I literally, oh crap, I have dysgraphia, and I've got this all, my brain gets all foggled, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But like, and I really feel dumb sometimes, that I'm like, ugh, I'm not trying to be intentionally rude. I'm really not trying to be rude or harming anyone.
Mhm.
I get confused too.
Yep. Yep. And
I
then
have
you got
every dis in the whole disability, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, this. I have a lot of dis, and they call it nonverbal learning disability, non-specified on purpose. And
Okay.
even when, like, you do the IQ test shows me high verbal, like super duper, like crazy intelligent high. And then the nonverbal of like, oh, like I'm almost in the intellectual disabled category. But it's like, it doesn't balance. I've got the high verbal up here. Whoa. And then the low on the intellectual disabled category, which I'm not. Because
Yeah.
I'm highly intelligent, and sometimes I think we're gifted.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
you can't come up with these incredible ideas if you're like that slow. And or even when you probably are that slow, it's just a longer processing time, and you have incredible ideas and you can't verbalize it.
Yes. So do you consider yourself a verbal processor? Do you have to say it out loud for it to start making sense in your mind?
No. You
No.
know what I get is visual downloads pictures.
Okay.
So like I have an idea in my head, and then in a way you were so cool, because like I could have had an idea in my head that like all those, because on my first show you had like all these things about accessibility and inclusion, and I was like, whoa, this she was in my head. And but like I get visual pictures, and so like I had the visual picture of the magazine, and I wanted all these great people to just write and never charge anybody to write. I just want people to write, and write passionately from your heart. I don't even care if you don't know anything about disability, but you're curious.
Yeah.
I want you
Yeah.
to write and be
I love
curious,
that. I love that you
because
just said that you're just curious.
yes,
Yes.
I
Do you
want you to
think
be
sometimes
curious.
people are afraid to come out and ask questions? What do you think
They're
they're afraid of?
afraid.
What do you think they're afraid
They are afraid that they're going to probably offend someone,
of? Hmm.
say the wrong thing, and fear of the unknown.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like that ugly word, disability, means we're creeping at you and like something's wrong and I have one finger and I don't have anything else and I'm weird. You know, the horrible thing online is, and this is what hurts me sometimes when I see stuff online, is because like one person's just like, oh yeah, I'm losing weight and like this is great and I'm so inspiring. But then you have this couple who is one guy's in a wheelchair and that's his wife and they're hanging out and they do some of those silly little trends. Well, there was an Olympic trend, right? And so he got dunked into the pool by the wife, and people made rude comments like, I hope he drowns. He's a vegetable. What are you doing with him? You're such a beautiful woman. Couldn't you have
Wow.
done better? And
Wow.
like, so people say really weird and cruel things,
Hmm. Wow.
right? And really it's, so there was this couple that got married and there's conjoined twins. Why ever the guy married the conjoined twins, he only married one of them,
Hmm.
and everyone made comments just about the sexuality.
Mm.
So there's this unknown fear. We can't talk about disability. Why would we want to talk about disability? Oh, well, they belong over there and they're other. They're, so take the movie Wicked, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen
And
it.
well, take the movie or the play Wicked.
Okay.
There, everything about that whole movie is the other.
Mm-hmm.
Even Glenda has the other. I'm popular, I'm pretty, why do they like me?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm popular and I can do the hair flip. You know, that's one of the things in the movie and the thing. Popular. Flip, flip. And Ariana Grande did it great. But she's an other because she's pretty, she's popular, and why do they like me? Do they only accept me? Do I really have friendship?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a
And
that's
then,
yep.
right? And then Elphaba. Oh, oh, you're green. Oh, you've got a wicked way because you're green.
Mm-hmm.
And then when her sister's in the wheelchair, we have to take care of her. We have to coddle her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They don't come and see me and embracing wellness
Yeah.
because I'm disabled. They come and see me because I'm a skilled practitioner with years of experience and training.
Yes, girl. Yes. I love
Right?
it. Yep.
So I want people to get to know me as embracing disability and know a disability community because we're a bunch of people that need to be as a community. And that's the other thing. It's too siloed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
that's why my first show was about the connectivity and the
Yes.
togetherness
Yes. And so
because
with
we're
what's
too
possible, like
siloed.
with the embracing what's possible with Roxy, what do you look to bring? What can people expect when they tune in?
Well, I haven't decided if the next episode's gonna be my big party tomorrow.
We want to
Celebrating,
see
and
that. We want to
I
see that.
know, I'm just really excited about that. And then I was going to do a whole thing on accessibility and what accommodations are. So we're going to be learning things on it, embracing what's possible. We're going to be learning what's possible. We're going to be learning what these words are about accommodations. What are reasonable accommodations? What's inclusion? What does inclusion mean?
Yeah.
We are going to be learning about those words and what they are. And then we're going to also be talking to heroes that, may or may not have a disability, but might
Yeah.
be a champion in that disability world.
Love
I'm
it.
bringing on an amazing woman who has a casting company, and the things that she casts are people with disabilities, children and family members, adults, and she takes headshots for them so they actually have a modeling acting
Nice.
headshot that can
Nice.
be looked at in a casting. I'm looking to bring in a Down syndrome. I need a beautiful young girl,
Yeah. I
and it
love
really
that.
casting that, I'm going to bring in a chef that can talk about allergies. I'm going to bring in a mom who created a RV. Hopefully we'll see pictures of it tomorrow. An RV that is a sensory station and a roll up for your wheelchair changing table for adults and children to have dignity and respect.
I love it. I mean, you are going to be bringing so many amazing things, and I'm just like honored to have you part of the network, part of the Stream-a-thon, like part of all of it. So before we wrap up and start moving into talking about Saturday, I've been giving my sponsors the opportunity to ask me one question that maybe you've always wondered, maybe you are curious about, and it's been kind of fun for me to see what those questions are. So this is your chance to just ask me anything that you want.
I want to know why you're a multi-potentialite entrepreneur and what makes that tick. And I also see a little bit of you and me in being a visionary. So I really would like to hear why you are such a multi entrepreneur and why that was like, how did you know that was you? And how did you know that you're a visionary, that like you want to bring people's dreams come true? Like, how did you know that?
I really didn't know the part about bringing people's dreams come true until someone told me that they were like, oh my gosh, you are like a business incubator. But I didn't know it because to me, it just came natural. The unique ideas, the things that I saw, like in everybody doing kind of like the same work, but if you took 5 people that said they were coaches, speakers, like did the same thing, it was like, I was able to say, oh my gosh, but you could do this and you could do this. And it was like very unique to them. That's just a natural thing. I don't know, like that's just given to me from God. And so what I've been able to do is apply tangible, unique things to common servanthood, like confidence and self-esteem. For me, it was lipstick. Lipstick made me feel like a badass. Lipstick makes me feel like a superpower, even when I felt like I had no confidence and self-esteem. So rather than just talk about confidence and self-esteem, it was like, let's play with lipstick. So I don't know. For me, it's when the ideas come, I don't sit on them. I take action. Some have worked and some have not. And some have blown up further than I thought imaginable. So to me, I think I just take the idea and I run with it and then see what happens. I don't sit in that maybe zone for long. So
I would love to have a deeper conversation with you about those things, about the things that blow up, about following that heart lead, that God wink lead. And I mean, that feels like a deeper Embracing What's Possible show.
Well, maybe I'll be your next guest. We'll see.
You are on the guest list. Don't worry about that, lady.
But oh my gosh, it has just been so great to have you join us tonight. And I just want to say thank you for everyone to just know that you are so appreciated. And I am grateful to have you in my world. And having hugged you in person and having connected with you, like you're just a joy. You are a pure joy in my life. And I'm excited for what's possible. Like, let's just see what happens. So thank you so much for being a sponsor. And we're going to see you on Saturday. We're going to see you
Saturday. Saturday or Sunday?
Oh, no, you're on Sunday. You're on Sunday.
If you need me to fill in somewhere, let me know.
Nope, you're on Sunday.
Okay, Sunday morning. I'm on 8:30, I think.
Yes, you are. Yes.
I can't wait to share more. Will we be talking or how does that work?
We can do it however you want. You can have the time all to yourself, or we can do conversation like this too. It's total, we roll with it. So.
All right. Sounds wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. Have an amazing evening.
I will. You too, hon. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, she's just an absolute joy. And so we are going to get ready for our next sponsor. But before we bring her on, I'm going to, in case you haven't heard our little jingle, I'm going to play our jingle so that you guys know exactly what is coming up with Christmas in July 24-hour live stream-a-thon happening this weekend. All right, that was our little jingle. So I'm just giving you a little heads up. You are going to try to lay your head down to sleep tonight, and you're not going to be able to because you're going to be going ding, 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 ding. So anyway, let's get moving. And oh my gosh, hey, I see Miss Martha Glory. Thank you, hon. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you too, Queen, little battle angel. But let's bring on Miss Tish McDaniel. Let's see. We're going to add her on. Is she there? Are you there, Tish?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Just can't see me.
Can't see you. But I can hear you. Let's see here. Maybe if I... nope. I wonder... oh, I see something happening. Oh, no, wait. Is camera maybe backward or anything?
No.
Let's see. Okay, maybe she's going to come back on. Live TV, guys, live TV. So while we have a minute, what I'm going to need everyone to do, if you are planning on watching the 24-hour live stream-a-thon, I'm going to need you to go to YouTube. I'm going to need you to search for Prospera TV Network, and I'm going to need you to subscribe because that is where we're going to be streaming 24 hours. Are we going to be sharing the YouTube to Facebook? Yes, but you're going to be watching it from YouTube. Why? Because Facebook kicks us off after 8 hours. And in the past, I've stopped and go, and we're not going to do that this year. Okay. And we got Miss Tish here. Yay.
Yes.
We got you. Hello.
Hello.
Gotta love the technology, right? That's what we said earlier.
Wow. And I am technology's worst nightmare, so.
Well, you look great, Queen. You look great. So
thanks.
So we are here to say thank you as a sponsor spotlight. You are a gold sponsor for the Stream-a-thon, and you came in kind of just days ago. What made you want to sponsor what we're doing here?
Because of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Because I was talking with my bestest buddy, who's I call her my baby girl. We were talking about your Besitos lipstick.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, wait a minute. She has this thing going on that you need to watch. And as I started searching, because I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, I'm always busy. Mm-hmm. And I saw that and I went, you know, my mother passed away on December 23rd.
Oh, wow.
Many years ago. And I thought to myself, you know, maybe that's why I feel like she's a soul sister, because her life changed on December 24th. Mm-hmm. And she now changes lives. Yes. And I feel the same way. So I went, you know what? I'm going to jump. I'm going to close. Well, the saying is eyes wide open and jump.
Yes.
And so I reached out to you and said, okay, I'm having a conversation with my CPA. Always so much fun talking about budget. And here you go. And you're like, okay. And you jumped.
Yes, yes, thank you. Like that's amazing. And the wild thing is you never know how many paths really cross in similarities without the conversation. Like I would have never known that, So holidays for you, even though that was many years ago, it's always a thing. Every holiday for you, it's got to be present. It's got to be there. So
yeah. And Christmas is always the most challenging, not just for me or you or our circle of friends, but for a whole lot of people. I lost a little brother to a brain tumor, and he was 10 years old, and we left up the Christmas tree so that when he came home, he could see it. Well, he never came home because he passed away, and so the Christmas tree stayed up for a while. And so now fast forward all these years later, and I have Christmas trees up year round. And they are my most wonderful mother-in-law, a second mom to me, who I lost in 2019. She makes these three-dimensional fabric Christmas trees that you can decorate, whether it's Christmas or get these pics of Halloween or all of that. So I always think to myself when I see the trees, my little brother's name is Mikey. And I always go, Mikey, the tree is still up.
Oh, wow.
The lights are still up. I don't know if you saw my post. It's whether Christmas is in July or December. Christmas is around me all the time. And when I think of you and what you do, Christmas, celebration, praise, hope, prayer, honor, that's who you are. And
Yes,
it's like, got to be around this girl because she's the queen.
Oh, I love that. And when we're talking about Christmas trees, the year that my husband did pass away, I love Christmas. Like it's my favorite time of year. And so I had my tree up like right after Thanksgiving. I put my tree up right away. And then he had his heart attack. He had his heart attack is still like right after Thanksgiving, but was in ICU for the whole month. But I was so glad that I had at least my tree up. But that year we didn't take it down either. I just decorated it for every holiday. And if a string of lights went out, I would just put more lights on it. And that was just a really beautiful thing that I needed to do for me. I needed to see the lights on every day, every night, like for a long time. So I love it. I love that. So tell us about your business. Tell us like the work that you do, what you pour out into the world today. Like what do you do?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I decided that I needed to be a spokesperson for people. I needed to make sure people were included, that people were not anonymous. And that I tell all my human resource friends, that's what catapulted me into human resources, is being the voice for the people, of the people, by the people. And at 10 years old, I wrote a poem called Anonymous because I felt anonymous. And I knew a lot of other kids, of course, 10 years old, and wanted to be included. And then you throw in, I'm left-handed. Predominantly, I went to Catholic school and was forced to write with my right hand.
Wow.
Because the nuns said the devil, I was the devil writing with my left hand. And to this day, I laugh and go, did they know the devil? How did they know he was left-handed?
Wow. I honestly don't think I've heard that. Like my mom went to a Catholic school, so trust me, I've heard some stories, but I don't think I've ever heard that one about being
Yeah.
left-handed. Like, wow.
So I was forced to write right-handed, and so being red hair, glasses, left-handed, being accused of being the devil because I write left-handed,
Wow.
I always felt so excluded and so anonymous. So my poem I wrote, created, called Anonymous, and I still use that today, 100 years later. And so I look great for my age. And so, yes, the work that I've done over my lifetime is always helping the underdog. Again, in human resources, in business, the taking an employee that is the underdog and working with them, developing them, and seeing them become what they want to become, not what I felt like they needed to become. And in human resources, that was the best career path for me, was to help motivate and also to not be afraid to help someone. I remember many years ago, I was a corporate HR manager for Kmart. Okay. And we had, everyone knows, carts out in the parking lot and cart pullers. And we had cart pullers that were really upset about doing their job. So, and I wear my Zoom pearls, but I always love wearing pearls. So here I am out in the parking lot in heels, in my business suit, my pearls, and I'm pushing carts with the cart pullers.
That's a visual. I'm picturing it.
and we're talking about it and we're strategizing. And I go back in to talk to the general manager, and it's no wonder they're upset. I'm upset doing it for 20 minutes. And so that whole thinking about that process improvement, what and it's always, I just do not remember who who actually coined this, the best getting better. And I always think of that, and that led me into becoming a process improvement guru.
Process improvement guru. I love it.
and I tell everyone, and in fact, last year at Movement Maker Live, I was on the women's panel, and you're supposed to introduce yourself. And so I said, well, I'm a swim coach, and I'm a cheerleader, and I'm a rescuer, and I'm a caregiver. And so when you really think about not just your title, but what do you do? Because all of those things all come back to the person. And it comes back to what you believe in, hope. And inspiration and dignity. And
I believe that hope does stand for help one person every day. And of course, when you live by that, you help multiple. But if you could just always stick to me, it's always, if I can at least just help one, then I'm doing all right. You know? Yes. So with, I'm trying to think of your logo. What's the wording that's on the?
Choose to win every day.
Yes, that's it. So if people were to come to you, what would they be like? Tish, I need help with this. What would be the thing?
The coaching arm, my business is M&M Advisory Group Inc., the acronym Maggie. And I also have a movement called Maggie's Unstoppable Movement, where I go around and do things. And what I do, I tell the person or the group, you can't tell anyone I did this, because this is not the point. I'm out there doing things. So I started the coaching arm, Choose to Win Every Day, because I'm a licensed Ziglar Choose to Win coach. And I love, of course, I have followed Zig Ziglar my whole entire life. And even when I had my near fatal car wreck, I had with me Zig's daily affirmation card, because I carried it with me.
And I love that. And I want to ask just real quick, because I know I had heard a bit when you were at one of the events. When was your car accident?
31 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
26 years to be able to do the things I could do prior to the wreck.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
If that isn't perseverance and, you know, like, wow.
Yeah. So, and a lot of folks that come to me, it's a developmental course. We do, and you and I have talked about this, the runway walking. I know that sounds crazy, but think about you're on the runway and you're walking, modeling clothes or coats or whatever. Now take that and walk into a room, and take that and walk into the grocery store or the drugstore, and just be confident about who you are.
Yeah.
I do a lot of what you and I have talked about, impression management workshops, because, and this is a question that no one has to answer unless you think about it later. First impressions, can they ever be changed? And that's why I do the impression management, because people are hung up on that's what they believe I am. And I'm here to challenge you and say, well, not really.
and I'm over here envisioning, can you imagine going to the grocery store and everybody's walking in their best runway walk? Instead, you see people with their pajamas still on and they're just like flying around.
Yeah.
But imagine, like, could you just imagine if you're like walking in and you're doing your best walk, and you would turn heads. You would make people want to look at you and want to get to know, like, what's up with this person over here.
Yes. And I also, because of my journey with my near fatal car wreck, and I'm in the book Born to Risk with Emilio Roman and Daniela and all the other wonderful people. And I think about my journey, and I think about dismissing the doctors and going out on my own. And what a risk when you dismiss. And I don't tell people to do that, but for me, that's what I had to do, because I didn't have time to sit around and feel sorry for myself. And if it took me 26 years to be able to get down on the floor and get back up on my own without having to crawl over to something to pull myself up, then so be it, because I know God's with me, and I know I will be able to overcome that. The only thing that I cannot do is not because of the car wreck. It's because of my back surgery. I can't roller skate, and I cannot vacuum. So those are the two things I cannot do that I could not do prior to the wreck. I'm fully recovered. And
there you go.
And to know that I was told I'd be in a wheelchair, and you've seen me, you've met me. I run 100 miles an hour, ripping and running all day.
And you bring a great point up, and I love that, because yes, I have seen you, and it's like, had you not said, I'd have never known. Like, people just don't know. For me, back in 2006, I have an autoimmune that I was told I would be in a wheelchair within 3 years, and if I'd listened and received it as my truth, who knows where I'd be. But I'm like, no, God, like, we're gonna get through this, and you're the one that holds the key, not what's happening here. And that was back in 2006, and it's like it hasn't happened. So you have to choose the path that feels right for you and is in harmony with you.
Yes, and believe it's all the studies and statistics of your mind over body, your mind over so much, and what you think about is what you become.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you most looking forward to with this coming weekend's Stream-a-thon?
It's really exciting because you can, I don't know everyone that is going to be speaking, but when you look at, I've seen your announcements, and it's like, oh my gosh, that will be so cool. And oh my gosh, because you know people's stories until you hear it and they add just a little twist to it. And you go, wait a minute, I didn't know that. So that's what's exciting, is getting to learn more about people, because I love to learn about people.
Yes. And the beauty of this, and the part that I love to bring forward, is that when you're in business and it's like hustle bustle and you're showing up as your best self and everybody's in this like mode, and this is the day to just pour goodness out there. And it shows us that we are all just real people, just doing it. We all have to share this space, the space called the world.
Yes.
So.
And what I do in a lot of my coaching is just listening and talking and understanding. Some days are good days, and some days the dragon wins. And then how you act upon when the dragon wins rather than react.
Yes.
Is how you feel then come tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that.
Yes. I love that. And so as I've been doing with all the sponsors today, today has been like my mini marathon to just get everybody on here and kind of practice, get me warmed up. But I've been asking all the sponsors, if you here's a chance to just ask me any question that you want. And I've loved the questions that have come in, because it's allowed people to get to see a little something different of me too. But do you have a question that you would love to ask me?
Yes, pretty wild. What are you afraid of?
And it's amazing that I have an answer for you right away on that one. Honestly, the one thing that I'm afraid of is, because I've been touched by death and I've witnessed it, I am most afraid of dying before I have everything that I feel I want to have in order for my sons. And I'm talking everything, because I know of the financial ruin that I experienced. I know everything, the lies, the betrayal, so much I uncovered. And that trauma bomb hit me, that my biggest fear is, as I'm trying to piece all of this together, of dying before I have everything settled for my sons. That's a fear of mine.
But I know it's a fear because of who you are, how you act, what you do. It's a fear that hasn't crippled you and hasn't overtaken who you are. And that's what's so great about who you are.
If anything, it pushes me a little further. Yes. We talk about the why, your why, that's kind of in front of you, that force that keeps you moving forward. And for me, I have found my why is behind me. My why is that I will never go back. My why is that I will never be in that situation ever, ever again. And it's what keeps me pushing forward. And that piece of get it together, because you do not want to leave your sons with a mess. And those are my things.
That's awesome.
Great question. Great question. So when we come this Saturday, we will be streaming live on YouTube. So we'll be on the Prospera TV network having a live event for 24 hours on the YouTube, and it will be shared to Facebook, but people will be watching us live on YouTube. So what is one last message that you can leave for the people that are going to be tuning in and watching you on Saturday?
Is to listen with your heart, and you might have to close your eyes sometimes to get the full effect of what someone is saying and feeling. And if you're afraid, that's okay. It's okay to be afraid. Just don't let it take over. Don't give up. Don't give in.
Don't give up and don't give in. Amen. And one of the things that made me think of is when I hear that we all hear with our ears, but we listen with our emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so words can sometimes get all muffled up, but wherever you are emotionally is how you will receive them. So come with an open heart. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
spending time with us this evening. And I look forward to enjoying the 4th annual Christmas in July Stream-a-thon with you
Yes.
on Saturday. So,
Yes.
all right.
Balls.
Yes.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Bye.
All righty. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, what a joy she is. And so before we move on, I'm going to leave you with our jingle, and then we will see our next sponsor spotlight coming right up. Yay! We are there. Like I said, that little song's going to be dinging in your head tonight when you're trying to sleep. So, moving right along, guys, if this tells you how much support that we have behind the Christmas in July 24-hour live stream-a-thon, I have been here with you most of this day to just spotlight all of these sponsors from bronze, silver to gold level sponsorship, because it's not possible without the support. So thank you. Thank you. So this next sponsor that I'm bringing up is, I don't even have words. Friend doesn't sound right. So, I mean, it's like family, like sisterhood, all of the things. So let's just bring Miss Tish Ross to the stage. Hi, beautiful.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can
Yeah.
hear you. Yes.
Some more technical difficulties. Yeehaw! Look at the background.
Woo, woo, woo. I gotta love those.
Not my normal area where I would be sitting, but hey.
Hey,
It'll
that's
work.
okay. I can see you. I can see you. So wow. Like, I don't even know. I just feel like I'm gonna sit back and just listen to you do your thing, because I love your voice and you're just so good at what you do. But why don't you tell people you are sponsoring and you have a podcast called No Judgment Here with Tish Ross, the podcast, and the journey has been amazing to witness. And so I just want to let you take it where you want to take it. So go on.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. The journey has been amazing. And I think from the beginning, when, like all of us, many of us, the Lord will ask you to do something, you're thinking, you got the wrong person. And I feel like whenever the Lord asked me to start interviewing people and having people share their journeys, their testimonies, I was afraid. I was deathly afraid. But his path, the hand that he has in all of our lives and in our paths, you can sit back and go back and look at it. And Elena, you are a huge part of my journey and overcoming that fear, your coaching ability, you as a human being, as a friend. You're the person that if anybody is struggling to find their way to what is my purpose? How do I start this business? What do I do to start a podcast? The Lord asked me and I have no idea. The Lord led me to you. And boy, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he is doing because he connected you and I. You mentored me through some of my deepest fears. And that number one was showing my face. my appearance. And I never wanted to do this. But now I want to do it. I can't do this enough. There was a breakthrough with you and I, you coaching me, you mentoring me. And like I've shared before, you doing what God has called you to do. And I'm a huge part of the result of you doing what God has called you to do.
Wow.
Because I overcame the fear. I was able to show my face, and now you can't get me to shut up.
I love it. And while you were talking and saying that, can you imagine what you like without this in your life today? Can you even try to imagine what that would look like, without breaking through all of this to do all of this?
I can't.
Yeah.
I cannot. It is not confidence, it's Godfidence, right? Because this is not about me. This podcast is not about me. If it were, I would have thought about it myself, but I didn't. God put this idea into my head. Would never in a million years, never would have thought about reaching out. I'm a huge introvert, and I'm quiet in the background when I'm not in front of the camera, which is so bizarre because I never wanted to show my face.
Yeah.
And then he led me to you through a Facebook post. I love social media for that reason. I mean, there's good and bad to social media, but I took the chance when God says do it, and just on the link. You helped me to do my first live on Facebook. No, I cannot imagine. And it was because of the stepping stone. You have a great mentor, a great coach like you. You take those first steps, and then it's the next step. And because I took that stepping stone, someone asked me to come on the radio station. Next thing you know, they're asking me to bring my podcast to the radio station. But again, it's not about me. It was God telling me, I need you to use your voice to help and guide others to share their testimony so that others will know that they're not alone, and so that people will know about who I am.
I love that. I love when you say that part, that so that people will know who I am. Oh, I mean, I love that, because I believe that 100% too. It's when you are the vessel and you're doing these amazing things because you actually stepped out of the way. I envision my God standing there, show them who I am.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Tell others about your God.
Yes.
It's not about me. It is about God and what he can do. And the breakthroughs have been huge. I never imagined that I would be on a stage. I never imagined that I would be connected to all of these amazing people that you have connected me with through these communities. We have helped each other along. We brought each other guests, and guests have upon guest upon guest upon guest. And what an honor, a privilege it is to be a vessel for the Lord. And everyone here is a vessel for the Lord. You just have to step out of your discomfort and to become your true authentic self, to become who God created you to be, to not listen to the world and to shut yourself down. Because had I listened to the world, I never would have done this ever in my life. And to have countless, in over 3 years on radio, and then even more on audio podcast. Before I made the breakthrough, it was audio podcast, and then video podcast, audio and video. The honor it has been to have people trust me and share their story authentically, not edited, live versions of their story, and people say and sharing things that they've never thought that they would share, and never thought that things that they've never said before. I had a very young man who was in high school who came out on radio.
Wow.
Didn't tell anybody. Came out on radio, and that is partnering with God and being blessed by the Lord because of that.
And watching now that we can watch your podcast, and now that we're taking some of your episodes and putting them on Prospera to go global, but watching these people and the stories, and they are raw, they are real, and that is what is so beautiful about them. How do you find do these people find you, or do you find these people? Like, how have most of your guests come about? Because they're amazing stories, like amazing stories you have found.
They are, and the people that share them are amazing. You know, I find people. It goes both ways. Some people reach out to me and tell me, "Hey, I've watched one of your podcasts. I really can relate. I really feel the need to share my story." So some people reach out to me. Others, I hear their stories or a glimpse of their story, and I reach out to them. And so it goes both ways. And to again, to be a vessel for the Lord, it's chilling. It is. I wake up and I do have a regular job. I do. And I don't mean to say job like I don't love it, but my passion lies within the human race. And to be able to sit back and see people become their true authentic self while myself still growing, right? I don't have it all together. I mean, I'm a part of Prosperity TV Network with you, and being able to grow and to continue to develop my show. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us claim to be, but it continues to come full circle, and I see God's hand in it, and it continues to grow even more beautifully. And not because of anything that I've done, but because of this community, which this Christmas in July, this Christmas in July that you visioned and you brought it into fruition from trauma or from tragedy. And it is hope. It is hope. It is helping one person every day. That is your motto for hope. And I love that, because being a sponsor is the least that we can do, because helping one person every day who has experienced tragedy and loss, and just giving a little bit back, if that brings them hope to open their eyes, to put a foot on the floor, to make their way to the bathroom, to brush their teeth, it's priceless. It is priceless.
Yes. And you know, listening to you say that, the first year that the Christmas Widow sponsored a family, and we had a community kids Christmas party, and we had pictures, Santa, and just kind of did some fun things. But the first year that we had the mom with two little sons, young sons, who had lost their dad that year, and part of the beauty was being able to give her a check that hopefully put a little bit of ease on her that holiday season. You know, oh God, I'm going to get choked up. But the other part was my own son coming with me to go shop for some fun gifts for the two little boys. And we stopped at their home, and he went with me to drop these gift bags off. And these little kids, like they were at the party first, and they had no idea that they were the family. They just came to the party. But to go back to their home and see them come out of their shell, the one boy was like 11, 12, and he was just like really angry. He was like really quiet, you know. But by the time we were in their home, he was just a chatterbox and hugging us. And so that was the first year. And that's when it was most raw for me as well. And so to me, turning something good out of that pain made it worth it, because my pain actually lifted their spirits that Christmas season. And so when people are say like, how can you stay up for 24 hours? I'm like, how can I not? Like if it's something so simple to me of just doing something that I love, but it's that vision of that very, very first family. And a year later, I ran into them at Walmart, and the little one remembered me, you know? And so it's like, wow. You can
I can't even imagine
turn pain into something beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. And look at that, providing hope for a child, right? I have to tell you that growing up, there was a time when my parents went above and beyond at Christmas. That was the time that they were able to provide us with Christmas gifts, things like that, and kind of go above and beyond. There was one year that And our parents didn't really discuss their financial situation with us kids. And I understand why. You don't want your children to worry, or that's not their job. And there was one year when we suddenly moved out of one of our homes into another one. At the time, I had no idea why, but it was sudden. We packed up our stuff, we moved into another home, and that first year in the new home, we put a Christmas tree up, and we thought, wow, we get to have Christmas. Me and my siblings, we were young, we get to have Christmas for the first time in our new home. And Christmas Eve was the time when all the presents were coming out. And that Christmas Eve, my siblings and I were looking around, and there was not one gift under the tree. And we thought, oh, Mom and Dad's probably just doing a little sneaky joke, and they'll have all the presents out under the tree in the morning. And we got up and ran to the living room like little kids always do, and there was nothing. And it was not a sneaky surprise. We ultimately later in years after we grew up, we found out that the house that we were living in was foreclosed on, and we moved into a new home. But that year, my parents they could not afford Christmas, so we didn't have a Christmas gift that year. But as a kid, it brought so many thoughts into my head. Anger was one, because I guess it was an expectation, right? Sadness was another. Embarrassment, going to school and people asking, what'd you get for Christmas? I mean, we were in elementary school, and I lied and made up a bunch of crap. But as I grew up, I started thinking about my parents, and I think of the pain that they went through, or I don't know, the hurt. I don't know, that they were not able to. And we know that Christmas isn't all about presents, but as we were little children in elementary, and I can only imagine what my parents were thinking. They weren't able to provide Christmas. And I do remember waking up that Christmas morning and going and looking at my dad and looking at my mom. My mom was looking down. It was I just remember they just looked so sad.
Yeah.
And the fact that you, Elena, that's why sponsoring, the 4th annual Christmas in July, the 4th annual Christmas in July.
Yeah.
Be able to be a small part of being able to help a family provide something is huge. And it's a little special place in my heart. It holds a special place in my heart now, since I remember what it must have felt like as a parent. I mean, even as a parent myself, I could imagine, man, that would be tough. That would be tough.
Well, and that too, I think that was part of it. The year that I did become widowed on Christmas Eve, there wasn't a gift under the tree. We didn't even have fresh food in the refrigerator. I mean, I had been at the hospital for 25 days while my husband was in ICU at that time. So I did turn the machines off, and he did pass on Christmas Eve. But coming home with 2 sons, and I mean, a friend of ours ordered a Cracker Barrel dinner for us because, I mean, there was just nothing in the house. So that year was difficult, but that was the year of the trauma, like of the death, of it all. Well, as 2019 came, and everybody knows that part of it, it got worse, it got worse, it got worse. So that Christmas, so now we're talking the year anniversary, I was in financial ruin. I didn't have anything. That's the year I sold my diamond wedding ring just to keep my electricity on. So to have another year of Christmas, and thank goodness for my mom and my sister, because they and no, it's not about presents, and we know that, but that's part of the holiday and the festivity. But to watch them open gifts that came from other people, and knowing that I still couldn't buy another one for my sons, it's like it's just that gut wrenching that as a mom, you feel like a failure, and you feel like, where did I go wrong, or how did I end up here? And my kids don't deserve this. They deserve someone better. I mean, like, so many thoughts go through your mind. And coming into the year of the Christmas widow, I had already lost the home. That came about after I ended up losing the home and moving in with my mom. And I thought that following year, so now this is year 3, we're going to do something. And we had the Christmas party and for the community. And I had to make sure that, number one, my kids knew that we've got through it. We got through those rough years. But my heart ached for the other kids who might not understand why they're celebrating Christmas without a parent. You know, how do you explain that to a little one? And so that's the start of all of this. And now it's just a good way to pour love, hope, inspiration, like all around, because it's tough.
It's tough. It is tough. And even now, just these days and times, it's hard. It's hard. And to be able to be a part of this is, my gosh, it's humbling to be able to give back in just a little.
I love that. So let's get to talking about like you and your podcast and all the things. You know, are you always looking for guests? Like, how do you determine who would be a good guest on your podcast? Because you get into some deep topics and you get some real people. I love like watching your show. So can anybody be a guest, or how do you filter that out?
Yeah, well, I do. I feel like for me and the podcast, anybody who feels like they have a story that they just need to tell. I need to tell my story. They feel called, they feel led. There's a reason for that. And I hope and I pray that anybody that hears the podcast feels like they can reach out and share their story, because if they are feeling called or led to share, there's a pull there to share their testimony, then somebody somewhere needs to hear it. And I feel like the times that we tell ourselves, nah, you probably wouldn't want to hear my story. It's not as big or as sad or as traumatic as somebody else's. That's a lie. That's the enemy lying to you. That could be yourself thinking you're not good enough. It may be that the shame from whatever is rearing its ugly head, and don't listen to that. I feel like if anybody has a story that they feel like, I've got to tell it, anybody can reach out, and I'm happy to hear it. And then we can decide when we can go live. And I'm super excited that your husband, Charles, is going to be joining me next week live to hear his story. Yeah. And I've not even heard a snippet of it other than you and I just kind of chatting a little bit. And boy, oh boy, get your Kleenex, because his story, you see people walk around, you see people on social media, just regular everyday people like you and I, and you would never. There are people that you look at and you would never know. And to know that he has risen above what he grew up in, it's inspirational. It's inspiring. Yeah. I cannot wait for him to share his story. So yeah, anybody can come and share their story. If you feel led to, you can reach out to me, and I'd love to have you come on as a guest.
That's great. And I honestly, I can't wait to watch him be interviewed by you and on the podcast, because that's one of the things, like you never know the divine connections or why God places you where he does. And I just knew with him, and that was his question for me earlier. And so I can't wait to get back to answering that. But I knew immediately, like I knew it was him. I knew that was my dear future husband. And I couldn't understand it, and I didn't really know, but knowing about his childhood and knowing what he had been through, what he had experienced, for me, it was amazing, because God knew I had nothing but love in my heart to give. I just had so much love in my heart to just, be good to somebody and just love somebody, and just overflowing, and knowing where he came from. That's all he needs. Like, that's all he needs, is just to be loved. And something so simplistic, take out all the stuff that people put in, like relationships and marriage and all this. It's simply love. The overabundance that I had and the amount that he like was lacking from his whole childhood. And it's like, that was it. We found the exact fit that we needed in each other just by that. And God knew that. But it took our whole lives to become those people to be here today. And I can't wait for him to share like with you, because it's amazing.
My gosh, Elena, y'all story, that gives me chills. And here I am wanting to cry over your story, because I'm like, that is huge. That is God's intervention and years and a lifetime of your journey to find each other. And like you said, it's so beautifully explained. Something so simplistic that he needed and wanted. And boy, you had an overabundance of it. And what a great team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Yeah. I need y'all to come on and share the couple stories sometime.
Yeah, we could do that too.
That would be amazing.
And I don't know if you knew either, but he lost his partner on Christmas Eve.
No way.
Yes. Christmas Eve 2022. So, I mean, it's like the more that we got to know each other, the synchronicities that we had experienced, because I remember, like, now I'm going to be talking about this. Like, I remember writing when I would write to my dear future husband. And I remember one year, it was around Christmas time, and I was just writing that you're going to have to understand that Christmas is, even though it's my favorite time of year, there's always an underlying of a sadness, and it will always be that way. That will never go away, no matter what happened after the discovery and all of that. It's still a piece of me and an experience that I went through, turning the machines off and leaving Christmas Eve, the hospital that day. But to know, like, but you're going to have to understand this, and who better to understand it than someone that lost their partner to cancer on Christmas Eve. And so we both have that in common too.
Gosh. Okay. So if you want to know what my podcast is like, this is what it's like. Yes. I honest to God, love humans. I love human beings. I want to hear your story. And this is what it's like. We have a conversation. I'll ask a question. And then as you start to share the way that God designed my brain, something else is starting to come, and he'll say, ask them this next. And it's not about me. He says, ask them this. And that way someone else can hear again about who he is and how he got them through their trauma, so that people will know that they're not alone. And this is it. And wow, that is incredible.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Like, I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to listen and tune in. But for other people, as they're viewing this, you can actually reach Tish too by going to the ProsperityTVNetwork.com. And there's a contact me page, and you can click on that, and it'll link over to how you can get a hold of her, because, just you bring it. Like, you bring it. You were made to do what you're doing. And I'm so glad that you have traveled that journey to make it happen, Yeah, for real. So I want to, and this might be kind of odd because we've talked through so much, but I have left the sponsors at the end of every segment to feel free to ask a question. But you do this with me quite often, so there might not be a question that you have like in the back of your mind, but if there is, you can ask anything, because it's been amazing to see some of the questions that have come through from the sponsors to me.
Yes. So I do have one. You know me, I have questions all the time. I question you on your lives on Facebook. Like, what does it feel like to be doing what God has called you to do? It's a beautiful thing. But my question is, what does strength look to you like now compared to before your trauma? Right? So you were a strong woman beforehand, but what does strength look like to you now compared to before your trauma?
Strength to me now is more humble. I think years ago, being strong meant that I got it all figured out and I got it all handled and I can do it all, and let me just put my cape on today and don't anybody worry about anything. And hiding my hard times, or hiding, like, to me, I felt like to be strong meant to be, I got it all figured out. and nobody has to worry about anything in my presence like ever again. Like that's kind of a vision of strength to me back then. And if I have to say today, it's the strength to admit the hard things. It's the strength to say, I'm sorry. It's the strength to say, please forgive me. And some of the strength has come with my sons, as they're getting older, and, mama checked out for a little while I was figuring all this stuff out, and they had to pick up their own pieces. So survival mode, and we're all in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, sometimes you say things that you wish you didn't say, and we had to heal from that. And so I think the difference of strength then to strength now is realizing that I don't have it, my God has it, and I can't do anything without leaning on God. But to me, it's a humble place. It's a humble place, and it wasn't always that way. So that's my answer.
That is beautiful, and that people should hear that and make it their own, because we try to be the perfect social media person. We got it all together, or even out in public, she's got it all together, or he's got it all together. But the beauty comes from being authentic and being your true self, and being able to admit, I'm wrong.
Yes.
Sorry, I screwed up. I said the wrong things. I apologize. And being your true authentic self is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. So I'm so glad I got to meet and learn this, Elena. And I would have been thankful to meet the Elena before, but boy, you're one badass.
Aww.
Even kidding. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your circle.
Absolutely. And thank you for just, all the love and support. And I can't wait for us to get started with the 4th annual. So people bring your tissues and drink your coffee, and let's do it.
Yes. I can't wait either. Thank you for allowing me to be a part.
All right, Tish. All right. Thank you. We'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. All righty, folks. How are we doing? So now, this next sponsor that we are bringing up, this is actually one of the nonprofits that we are bringing awareness to over this Stream-a-thon. As this got started with the Christmas Widow, and we're putting all of this, year after year after year, but a lot of people got a lot of things going on, and especially in the nonprofit world, awareness and getting in front of new people, talking about the message is a huge piece in the survival of the nonprofits. And so I want to bring up, I'm going to just bring her on, Miss Marilyn Morales. Hey, beautiful, who is Izzy's Legacy. And I will let you explain that. But how are you?
I'm good. I'm just coming in from Virginia. So
I was going to say, are you just getting in town?
Yes.
How long of a drive was it?
4 hours.
Oh, wow. Well, I got to stretch the legs out and all that.
Yeah, I stretched. I walked around. I did all that. And here I am back sitting down. Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for making the time to join us today, because we're actually just really going to be sharing a lot about Izzy's legacy throughout the Stream-a-thon, just to bring, driving people to the website, driving people to know more about what it is that you have going on. And so I just want to give you this time to really share from that place before we get to Saturday, and then we can talk about our messages of hope. But this today is about you being a sponsor, and what is Izzy's legacy?
First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me to be a part of it. This is our 4th year doing this.
Number 4.
I've been part of every single one. Yes. And the last 2, honored to be a sponsor, because I truly believe in everything that you do. Since the day that we met, that so many of us met, right? Yes. We have truly been a blessing to each other's lives and learned so much from each other. Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for that. So inspired. Izzy's legacy, right? Izzy's legacy happens to be what we all want in our lives, to be able to leave something behind that lives beyond us, right? So this started with me wanting to share my daughter's journey. For those that don't know me, and there's very few out there right, that don't know at this point about Izzy's legacy, I lost my daughter in 2008 at the age of 19 months old to a rare leukemia. Still talk every day. I meet somebody new, and I talk about my nonprofit and why I do what I do. And it is just that. It's in the name. It's leaving something behind, because I never want to forget that my daughter was here, that she existed. The short time that she was here was so impactful to so many people that actually got to meet her, got to be a part of her journey, did all the things that we're doing now, right? So we have drives to bring awareness on the need to join the NMDP stem cell registry and to save lives. People were doing that for me back in 2007 when we found out that no one in the family was a match for my daughter. She needed a life-saving bone marrow transplant, stem cell transplant, and no one in the family was a match for her.
Wow.
So
was that shocking? Like, because don't you just assume that there's a match in there, like somewhere?
100%. And then having two older siblings, right? So I had a daughter who was at the time, 6 years old, 9 years old when this was going on. My son was 6, my daughter was 9, who were older siblings. And as soon as that diagnosis came through, the doctors looked at them and said, those two are her best chance at surviving this.
Wow.
And let's get them tested immediately. And then having to walk back into my room and say, they're both half matches.
Wow. Wow.
So I had totally believed that we would be able to fight this and get this done. And then after saying, no, they're not, I have to also share with you that there is not a presence of Latinos on that registry. And the registry is volunteer. So people have to volunteer to be on it. They have to understand what it's about, what it takes, to join that and to be able to save somebody's life and donate. There's a whole process to that. And after understanding that, say yes. Right? So even in her case, there were 4 people that came up as the closest match to be able to save her life. Only 2 of those 4 came forward immediately to do the next steps.
Wow.
Right? And 1 emerged who did everything possible to save her life.
Wow.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you think of the filter down.
Yes.
And if there's not even that many to begin with, and then you like filter down, like, wow, that visual just hit me, So the one that did step forward, who, like, do you meet them? Do you, like, what is that process like?
So many years later, we haven't met in person yet. That is I wish that. He lives in Oklahoma. His name is Mike Hensley. Okay. He is in my book. His photos are in my book because we were able to communicate every year. And in April was when she got her transplant. Her birthday was in March and in April. So she turned a year, and then she had her transplant a month later, which we call her second birthday, right? April 28th. So she had that transplant. We prayed for Mike. We didn't even know it was a Mike. I always thought all these years that it was a woman. I automatically assumed that it was a woman that matched her, right? And a Latina woman at that. In my head, I formed this person who had came forward and said yes to my daughter. And all this time, it was a dad.
Wow.
It was a father who said, if this was one of my boys, I'd want somebody to say yes to them. Wow. And they were the exact same ages as my oldest two, his two.
Oh my goodness.
And he joined at the time that I started my search at a drive at his place of employment. He worked for the post office over there in Oklahoma. And he said there was a drive for a little girl of a coworker who had leukemia. And so they were having a drive for her, and he joined in hopes of matching that little girl.
Oh my gosh. So you're all the way out in New York, and he's in Oklahoma, and they're doing a drive for a little girl with leukemia. And wow.
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey. Yeah. So it was in Philadelphia.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah, Philadelphia CHOP, where I was. Yeah. But how many miles away, right? Eons away. We're not even in the same time zone.
Wow.
Right? And it was like this. This is how God works, right? And the number one question I was asked, and you and I talk about God all the time, right? Number one question that I was always asked was, how do you still believe in God? Instead of getting messages of faith and in one day you'll see her again. It was all these people that had prayed and prayed and prayed for months, and the prayers seemingly answered. We prayed for a donor. He appeared. We prayed for a successful transplant. It happened. We prayed for her to get out of the hospital. She did, right? So we prayed and our prayers were answered, and then she was gone. And then she was gone. So then it's like, how do you continue to pray? How do you continue to have faith? That's what people were asking me instead of the other way around. And I had to answer that question.
Wow.
How can you not?
Yeah.
Because I saw him throughout our process. All the prayers that we had, all the answers. I was able to bring her home. They didn't, when she was first diagnosed, they didn't expect her to make it through the night.
Wow.
That's how sick she was. I read her chart. I'm a nurse. So if you leave the room, I'm reading that chart. Right?
Yeah.
I'm opening it up. Just know that that's what we do as nurses. We're going to open up the chart. We're going to read.
And you got questions you need to know, right?
And I need to know what's in there because they're not sharing. And my heart just stopped when I read that they didn't expect her to make it.
Wow.
They didn't expect her to make it.
My goodness. So you were able to look at it from the gift, the things that God was able to grant you, taking her home, having that time, and all other people could see was that it didn't end the way
didn't work.
That
It didn't work. The prayers didn't work. And it's a road, right? It wasn't like I in that time period and in being able to be present for my daughter's birth and her passing, to be able to hold her both times and give her that gift of love. That's where I was at that time. And I knew that God was there because he brought me the people that I needed at that time to carry me through that. But that didn't mean that after that, I didn't have anger. I was angry. I started to listen to that. I started to listen to those voices that were telling me, stop believing. He took her, you know? And it was a journey that I had to go through.
Yeah.
And in my journey back to me, and it was an aha moment one day when I was like, this is not the mother that Isabella knew, or my other two for that matter.
Yeah.
This is not the mother that they knew. The woman that I had turned into was a completely different woman. And I was like, I got to go back. I got to go back. I got to be that person that every day in that transplant room, because we could see no one. It was just her and I in a room. They could see us through a window. That's it.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That woman that got her up every single day and said, okay, let's get up for our day. Let's get dressed. Let's take a bath. Let's turn on the music. Let's have a party. That's who needed to come back.
Wow. Wow. And earlier we were talking with one of the other sponsors. She lost a son, and she was talking about you just have to walk through it. Like the process, there's no shortcuts, no matter how you want to go around. Maybe you think you can bypass it this way. And she's like, it doesn't care how long it takes. Like until you decide to go through it and let all of those pieces kind of form that maybe the anger, maybe this, maybe that, like there's no other way around it but to just go through it. Yeah. And what for you, what was that starting point when you're like, I've got to bring her back. I've got to be the mom that I was. Like, were you able to like tackle this head on and be like, I can do this? Or did it just kind of happen? Like, how did you go through it?
In stages.
It's
all stages, and there's no timeline. And that's the biggest message, is that there's no timeline. The timeline for me was years. The timeline for somebody else could be months, right? It doesn't matter. It's what happens through you throughout. So it was moments of God coming back. God is who called me back, right? Because I didn't want to be a nurse. Imagine being a nurse who couldn't save your own child.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to continue to practice medicine? All I did was go back and have to deal with patients who had cancer as well and think that's poison they're giving you. That's not going to help because it didn't help mine. Yeah. So I didn't believe in it anymore. Right. So I didn't want to continue to do it, but that's all I ever knew how to do. So I had to change the kind of nurse that I was at the time, go out in the field. I became a home visit nurse. Right. Okay. So instead of being in the facility that I was in a subacute rehab. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go out there and I'll tackle patients one at a time, until I figure out what I want to do when I grow up. I'll figure that out then. But in the meantime, I got to make money and I got to support my family, right? So one patient at a time. Don't you know that my first patient had cancer?
Wow.
I cried when I left that house because I was like, God is so cruel. How cruel can you be? I left that. I go here, and this is what you give me
right there. Wow.
You give me next patient, cancer. All I kept getting was cancer patients, and it wasn't until I had a patient with leukemia, and I was able to guide. And it was an older woman, and I was able to guide her daughter, right, into the signs and symptoms that I just lived through it. I had just lived through it. So, and I was not an oncology nurse. I was not a cancer nurse. So I learned this through Isabella's journey, right? But here I was now being able to educate somebody else about the same journey and about what to look for. And most importantly for that family, when to recognize when it's time to and that's the biggest gift that I gave that family is that, because when it came time, right? And at that point, I was already off the case. But I heard from the daughter after it happened that because of our talks and conversations, she was able to recognize when it was time to have mom rest.
Wow.
Put her on hospice and honor her in that last stage of life, which is so important.
It is so important. It is so important. So even though you weren't there physically, you were with her in mind and spirit to be able to get through that moment.
And isn't that what legacy is about? Is about impacting somebody in the moment, and way after you leave their lives, they still hear your voice.
Wow.
They still feel your presence, and you're still able to bring something to their lives and enrich them. That's all we want.
Man. So through all of that, then what was it always known that you were going to start this nonprofit and you were going to carry this legacy forward, or how did that come about?
Yeah. So when I was going through my journey, a group of moms who had, and I was new to New Jersey. I had just moved from New York to New Jersey. So I wasn't here long. So I didn't know many people. But other moms that had taken their kids to school where they were in the same class as my kids, right? Heard about what was going on with her, called themselves Isabella's Angels, got together, formed a fundraiser to support our family financially, right? And said, all I need you to do is accept the help, which is hard for a lot of us, right? I've never been on the receiving end. I've always been on the giving end. So I said, okay, they took care of everything, right? So they did what I'm doing now. They did that for us. And Isabella's Angels raised enough money so that I could take off and be with my child, not lose my house, be able to pay my bills, and stay with her for those months that she needed me.
Wow.
They gave me the gift of time by doing that. So in the back of my head, and after all of all those things stay with you, right? As one day, now at that fundraiser, and I've talked about this before, at the fundraiser, I was in the hospital with my daughter. She had an infection. We got hospitalized. I now am not making it to the event, right? My family attends without us. And I happened to get discharged. That day they walk in and say, you're going to get discharged. But of course, I had to settle Isabella at home and said, I'm going to go to the event just to say thank you. It was at the tail end of it. I said, I just want to go and say thank you. I show up and my husband approaches me and says, a stranger came to the door and asked to see the parents of Isabella. They had read about the fundraiser in the newspaper, right? Woman shows up with an envelope in her hand and says, someone did this for me. Okay. My husband suffered from cancer. Somebody did this for me, and I am paying this forward. One day you'll be able to do the same. Hands it to my husband and leaves. Okay. $500 were in an envelope, which to us was huge. To a lot of people that may be nothing. But for a family who's struggling, it's everything. And that somebody who didn't even know us would just show up and do that. I said to my husband, one day we will. And that's where the seed was planted. One day we will.
Wow. One day we will.
A stranger that I never even saw, but her story and her impact stayed with me. And so I kept thinking, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to pay it forward? What am I going to do? And then when my daughter now grows up and is now working for the NMDP and brings home the story of a little girl who is searching for a transplant, happens to be Latina, has been on this registry for 6 years and can't find it. Now, she didn't have cancer, but she had a disease that eventually was going to take her life. And her mother was struggling to find a match, and people were not showing up.
Wow.
The Latinos were not showing up in the numbers that we need. And that pissed me off.
And when you're pissed off, now you're in action. Now
You're pissed off Latina, and watch out. And I was like, you know what? That's it. I got to do something. I keep talking about doing something, and at some point you got to take action. It's not just about talk. We got to stop talking.
Yes.
And at some point we got to start taking action and start getting other people to take action.
So do you think, because I know that you, when they go to the site, they can get the kits and to be put on the registry, and they're free. I think that you're able to do that for free. Do you think that your nursing background helped pull, like, how did you find how to have these kits? Where did that come from?
My daughter was working for NMDP.
Okay, so that's,
We used to have drives all the time. I would have drives even after I lost Isabella. So that's how my daughter knew about NMDP and about having drives, because as she was growing up, it was a part of our family. So when she went off to college, eventually, right, she wanted to become a child life specialist to help families, and especially the person who helped her through her journey, which was that child life specialist who would pick her up every day at CHOP, take her away from Isabella and help her process.
Wow.
She wanted to be that person initially, right? So she goes to college for this, joins a sorority as girls do, right? But now becomes a leader in that sorority and is in charge of the community affairs and the community events, and says, well, I'm going to honor my sister and we're going to have a drive and I'm bringing that to this college, does that, and they see her passion. And they go, we're going to give you an internship. At the end of that day, they were like, she calls me and go, oh my God, they just offered me an internship. And I was like, take it. Take it.
Wow.
Said, what you want to do, but you never know. God works in mysterious ways. There's a reason why. Take it. She ends up then being offered a position. And here we are. She is now, an account manager for the state of Florida. Her dream.
Wow. That's that's a piece I've never heard. Like, I never got that section of it. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you got to have Gabby on. We got to get Gabby on your.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That passion, just that passion and that purpose and that drive that it led to all
these things. God just leads you, right? It's just answering the call, just saying yes. It's all about saying yes
and taking action. I love that you're about that. Take that action.
You got to take action. You got to stop thinking about it. I thought about it for too long, and sometimes I think about this. But it's when it's ready, when it's your time, right? Yeah. But I think about, I should have done this so many years before that. I wish I would have done that. How many other people would have been saved, right? But maybe she needed to grow. Maybe she needed that process. Maybe she needed to bring this back and say, Mom, you're still a part of this journey. I'm bringing it back to you. This is my story. For Mom to say, oh no. So, being a nurse helped, right? Because I said at this point, if you're going to trust somebody to give you information, right? Who is it going to be? Somebody who's knowledgeable of it, right? Somebody who is of your same ethnic background or close to it. So those of us that are considered minorities or ethnically diverse, and somebody who went through it. Yeah. Those are the three people. Well, I'm 3 in 1. I went through it. I'm Latina and I'm a nurse. Let's go.
Wow. So we are going to be streaming on YouTube, Prospera TV Network, all around. So what is the website for anybody that is tuning in if they want to go join that?
They want to join the registry. First of all, the age range is between 18 and 40, right? If you want to join the registry, it's free. You can go right to izzy'slegacyinc.org. Right on my website, there's a link so that you can answer the questions, get yourself educated on the process, because that's important. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. It's simple, though. A simple swab of the inside of your cheek. It takes seconds, right? Return it. Postage paid. They mail it to you. You mail it back. Boom, you're on the registry. But you also want to know, if I'm a match for somebody, what happens next? So all those FAQs are right there on the website. Nice. And most importantly, if you're joining because you're impacted by Izzy's story, by the Morales story, That by joining through my website, it allows us to be able to keep track of everybody who has joined because of her.
Nice. Wow. And to watch the amount of impact that she's had, that she is having,
that she's
today.
having, that she is having, that she had, continues to have. Her contributions are so numerous that, you know, it would take us all day. All 24 hours would have to be about it, right?
I love it. I love it. So what is in the future? Like, are you doing anything in the future? Because you had a golf outing, like, was that this past?
Yeah,
How did that go?
My first year was a gala. My second was a golf outing where we honored someone on a cancer journey. His name was Brian Garrison. He was suffering from cancer. Unfortunately, he did pass in January, so he was at the end of his journey, and we knew it. We knew that he was at the end, and we wanted to give him the gift of golf, right? Because that was one thing that he loved and made him feel like a human, not just a cancer patient. So there's a little twist and turn to that, because we are now having our third annual fundraising event, October 18th, right here in Pennsauken, New Jersey. So right here in New Jersey, it is going to be called the Night of the Arts. Which was the vision. Isabella would have been 18 this year.
Oh, wow.
So in honor of her 18th year, which we all know as moms, the 18th year of your child is a party year, right?
Yeah.
All about the party. So Isabella had a party every day in her room, as I mentioned before. So I wanted to honor what got her through her journey was the gift of music, right? So we're going to honor that by inviting musicians, artists, poets, anybody that's in the arts, because that's what she loved, to take part of the Night of the Arts. From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Soundplex. It's about fun. That's all it's about. Fun, faith, and fellowship, as I always say. This is a capital F for fun, because it's going to be dinner, and Daniela's Delicious Delights is on there as a caterer.
Oh, nice.
So we'll have dinner. And we'll have entertainment.
Sweet. And so if people are you just selling tickets or how do people get access to that?
As soon as that is ready on the webpage, the landing page, as soon as that's ready, we're in the works of that. That will be going up. There'll be various forms on buying the ticket for dinner and a show, right? And a night out to hang with like-minded individuals and enjoy some music and some fun.
I love it. I love it. What do we got here?
Very soon. There's going to be sponsorship opportunities. Last year we had the golf signs. This year we're doing Izzy's Legacy Stars. So if you want to honor somebody who has passed on from the journey of cancer or who is in the fight, you're going to be able to get one of those stars and be highlighted that night.
I love that. That was my dad. My dad passed of cancer in 2011. So, wow. So yes, definitely when that link is live, let's get that word out there. But throughout the Stream-a-thon this coming weekend, we will be highlighting Izzy's legacy. We'll be putting the website where people can go and join the registry, and just really we'll hear from you again.
Reach out to me on Facebook. Just reach out to me on Facebook. If you're waiting, you want to go, you know now, and you want to get on the list for when it's ready, just send me a message on Messenger.
I love that. All righty, guys. So you heard that. So as we get ready to wrap up, number one, I want to say thank you again so much. But one of the things I'm doing this year with the sponsors is giving you a chance to ask me anything that you want to ask, because it's been really kind of cool to hear some of the questions that have come forth, but also to give other people a chance to know something that I might not think to ever share. So do you have a question for me?
Ooh, I wish I would have known this in advance.
I didn't warn nobody.
Let me see. Okay. Throughout your journey, and I know your story, right? What was that one event? What was that one thing that happened to you that made you make yourself into an action maker, that you decided, this is why I'm taking action. I'm taking action now, and this is why.
One of the first thing that pops into my mind is, it's not a good thing. It was coming home from the hospital on Christmas Eve after losing my husband, and within 2 weeks of realizing that I didn't know anything about all this financial stuff. what made me take action was that I realized I didn't read, I trusted, I signed my name, and I realized I had nothing. And that level of devastation and feeling stupid, inadequate, incompetent, like any negative word that you could think of, I attached to myself in that moment. And I thought, never again. And that just made me take action to all the things that we've built today. But it was realizing that I didn't have a home, I didn't have property, I didn't have retirement, I didn't have all of this. And I signed my name on everything because I trusted. It was bad. But, you know, have I learned my lesson? Yes. Was it fun? Absolutely not. But it put me into action for sure. And what I learned was, one of the things that hit the hardest was somebody actually called me out and said, you were just lazy. And I, after wanting to like first punch her in the face,
I was like, she's still alive? She's still alive.
but the reality was, you know what? You're the first person to actually say that to me. And you're right. I trusted, and I didn't want to read a stack of papers this big. So I trusted my husband, and I just signed my name. And she said, you were lazy. You signed your name and you were lazy. You didn't want to read them. And here I was having my pity party that I had signed on 2 different land deeds, thinking it was like, it was a mess, but it was a lie. He lied to me. But she's like, but you were lazy. And I thought, thank you. Because I was. And I learned better. But that made me take action, realizing that I had lost everything and there was nothing I could do about it because I had signed my name. I just didn't know what I was signing my name on. And then he died and it was gone. So, yeah, nice question.
That just brought a bunch of emotions, right?
But I mean, you know, it's like, this is real stuff. And that's
good stuff. That's good stuff.
Good stuff.
We all, that last sentence. Don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy.
You can love, you can trust. You can love, you can trust. But you have to hold yourself accountable. Yeah. Don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy. I saw a stack of papers. I didn't want to read them.
I wouldn't want to read them either. You read them, right?
So guess what happened? Like real quick. So it was a married couple that was talking about this, and they're a partnership. They're in real estate and they do all of this stuff together. And the woman was the one that said, like, you were lazy. You didn't. And he was the one that was like, but you should trust your husband. Like, he felt like I didn't do anything wrong because I should have trusted my husband. So then they're starting to have a discussion, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go this way. But it was really great to get both perspectives. But yeah, and I will never forget that. Like, you were lazy. So anytime there's like something in the, you know, document stuff that I just don't want to do, it's like, no, don't be lazy, man. Because read it.
Can I ask a follow-up question before we go?
Yeah.
So the follow-up question to that is, in your spidey senses, even though you were trusting, was there ever something inside of you that said, maybe there's something there, like a little doubt ever while you were trusting? Because sometimes we don't listen to our, you know, those our spidey antennas.
Yeah.
And then in retrospect, we say, you know what? I kind of felt like I should have, but I didn't.
Yeah, my spidey senses were all over the place, but not in that area. Like there were other things in life that kind of my spidey senses were knowing something was off, but never in my mind did I think it was hitting the financial part of it. Never did I think that it was my property, my retirement, my money. I didn't think it was in the money. I thought it was in the relationship, which turned out to be true. But this whole other side, and you know, when you look in retrospect now, isn't it kind of one and the same? If you've got uneasy spidey senses over here, like, why would I think it would be?
If I don't trust the relationship here, why would I think that something as important as the finances is not not intertwined with that relationship? Yeah.
So looking back, there were signs all over. There were signs like I went to go license and certify for a coaching thing, and I needed, like, I don't know, $2,500 or something like that. And I was making good money. in my corporate leadership job, but yet he wouldn't support that purchase. He wouldn't support that dollar amount. I went to my mom and asked my mom for the money. And yet I'm a married woman with my own
Your
job.
own money. Yep.
But then like 2 weeks later, he drives up with like a 69 convertible Corvette restoring, like that he paid like 12,000 cash for. So to me, looking back, should I have been surprised when I'm realizing that all of this was a lie? Probably not, but I think part of me really just didn't want to believe it. But that's how bad it got. Like I lost everything.
Wow.
So, yeah. But here we are. And so that taught me, keep going, figure it out, keep going, figure it out. Nobody's going to, come up and boohoo right alongside you. So that's what brings us to the powerhouses that we are today.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
amen.
So thank you for that. And beautiful. We will see you Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
There we go. All righty, hon. Have a good evening. And we'll
Thank you. You too. You too. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
All righty, guys. So we are actually down to our final sponsor spotlight of the day. We have been here since 11 this morning. And if this just goes to show you the amazing sponsors, the amazing guests, the amazing stories, just imagine what we have in store for you this coming weekend as we kick off the 4th annual Christmas in July 24-hour live stream-a-thon. You will find us on YouTube at Prospera TV Network, and we will be streaming live through that, and we'll be sharing over to Facebook. So be sure to go over there, subscribe, click the bell button, get notified, all the things. So here we go. We're going to bring up Miss Queen of Queens, one of my dear friends who has been in my life for the past several years and is one of our silver sponsors. We've got Miss Barbara Beckley, Queen. Hey, honey.
Hey, I remember to take myself off mute. I hate that.
How are you? It's so good to see you.
Oh my God, I feel like forever.
Well, we're just busy. We're all doing our thing. So,
and you are well, first of all, I have to give so much, I do this first. I have to give so much kudos to you. You talking about me, Queen Bee. You're Queen Bee to be the B Queen. So I just want to give you so much love, Elena. You are a powerhouse. If people don't know that, I don't know where they're living. I think their head is in the sand, but I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, I just want to just give you so much love, lady. And I'm just so glad I could still be in your orbit, in your world, and being a silver sponsor. I think it's my 2nd year, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that's why, tell us, why are you back to sponsor again this year? Why did you want to sponsor the Stream-a-thon?
Well, you, of course. I mean,
that's a question. That's a question I've given everybody. Like what makes you want to be a part of this 24-hour Stream-a-thon?
Well, first, like I said, you first, but then overall, like you said, the mission that is, I like how you're talking about the one person, the one story, and that whole concept, because it's so important, especially nowadays. I mean, well, all time, but really, especially in this, where we are right now, we need to hear the hearts. We need to show the love right now. We need to give, if you want to say virtual hugs, in-person hugs, whatever. And I love about this particular Stream-a-thon is through everybody that you talk to, all the speakers that are going to be on. I know last year, and I was like up in the middle of the night still listening. I think I came on around 2 again or something. We were having like a little party.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that again this year too. Charles is like, when's the party start?
So, I mean, overall, Queen, it's just much needed to hear the hearts, to hear the stories, to hear the passion from everybody. And for people that are listening to understand that there's hope, that they're not different than anybody, that we're all going through the journey of life. Our journeys might be different, but it all goes back to we're all just learning and growing with each other and just start to just love on each other and be there when somebody's like, if somebody's here, somebody down there, we just here to pick up each other.
I love that. And amen to that. So as a silver sponsor, this portion is all about you and your business and what you are doing in the world and how people can find you. So tell us, like, what are you up to nowadays? What's happening?
Well, my over umbrella is called the Diamond Factor Experience.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that experience that I would like people to come from when they're working with me is just being their unique self in them when it comes to showing up on video, showing up in interviews, just showing up and speaking anywhere that they're communicating. The biggest thing that I have my own broadcast studio to help people get to that point if they want their branding business show.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I tell people that is a catch-all for your whole business, and it can show your passion to all your clients that you're looking for. Yeah. When they see your show, when you bring people on, you do the same thing. And I wanted to create that because I was the type of person that was total opposite I am now. Uh-huh. So I always tell people, you're always your client 10 or 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm looking for my client in me that I was 10 or 15 years ago, where I was shy. People told me I wouldn't even have a business. Sometimes people ask me, I can't believe you have a job, because they thought that I was, just not to that point in my life. I was shy. I didn't really talk too much. Mm-hmm. Then they said I didn't have the image. They called me ugly. I mean, it was the whole thing, Elena. It was just sad. And it started when I was younger. I know Elena knows the story a lot, but it started when I was 7 through 11, where people just called me an alien and everything. So in my mind, when I finally got to like a teenage stage, and it really was a tragedy in itself with my dad, but it was also a silver lining. And some people say, well, how can it be a tragedy and a silver lining at the same time? Because it woke me up to say what my purpose and mission was on this earth, to make sure that no one, if they hear somebody saying that they're ugly, stupid, whatever the case may be, that's negative, that I would come and say, no, you're not. Yeah, you're unique in yourself. You're beautiful. You have now, I always, and that's where all the queens come from, and all that kind of comes out of me, because I promised myself within my life and within my business now that I wanted to make sure that you have a purpose and you have a gift, and it's important to show up in that gift.
Yes. And so how, in hearing that like the passing of your dad, and realizing that process, was it a long process before you realized that was a gift in itself, to be able to be that person for other people? Did you recognize that right away, or was it like years gone by?
Well, I recognized it. The seed started after my father passed, and I know we don't have that much time. I'm going to just really quickly. The way he passed, I always tell people he didn't die from a disease, he didn't die from an accident. He died because somebody else took his life. Yeah. And with that, he was just my all in all. I mean, he was my diamond. Yeah. Yeah. And for that, it crushed. I mean, he was gone out of my life. But I always tell people there's angels around you. Mm-hmm. And when I went through that time after, as soon as I found out of his death, and I went through something, really, I went through basically a depression mode. Mm-hmm. To the point where they had to take me at the age of 17. They basically took me to the hospital and said, we were concerned about her thinking about suicide. Yeah. Yeah. Which they were right. I was thinking about that. So
that's like a question now all the time. Are you thinking of harming yourself? Like, you get that question all the time, but back then you really didn't get that question. And it was until it got to that point, and then it's too late, Too late. Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad, even like you said back then, Elaine, you're right, that somebody was thinking about that, to say, okay, we need to, because my mother, she was like, oh my God, what's going on with her? Because that's a whole other story. Yeah. I love her dearly, but it's a whole other story. Yeah. But it took the paramedics, it took people to say, okay, well, we need to see what's going on with her, because I kind of tore up my whole room. I mean, after I found out about my father, I basically tore up my bedroom. Yeah. I was She-Hulk, basically. Yeah. When they came in there, the bed was turned over, the mirrors were slashed. I mean, it looked like a scene, like a bad scene there. And I just was like on the floor, just like this, like a rag doll. I mean, I was just limped over, Elena, and just I thought my world just crushed. Yeah. So in that point, they were like, okay, we got to take her somewhere. We just can't just leave her here. And they took me to the hospital, and that's when they did the 48-hour suicide watch. And within the 48 hours, I always say that's where the silver lining came in at, because a nurse walked in my room, literally, and I know this was God. I know this was God, where she didn't know me, she didn't know my dish, she didn't know nothing. All she was doing is taking vitals. Came in there, taking my vitals. I'm looking at, and at that time I was thinking about suicide. I was looking for something. I did find something, a butter knife, which that's kind of crazy.
Wow. but you were consciously thinking of it. Yeah.
I mean, some people now be like, Barbara, really a butter knife? But so I found something that, and I want her to leave. Elena, I wanted her to get out that room. I just wanted at that time, my mind was going, it's not worthy. I'm not worthy here. I mean, they talked about me already. They told me I was an alien. They told me I was stupid. They was ugly. So why don't I just let it go? And then my dad, the one that was always giving me, I was a princess and all that, he's gone. Yeah. So, and that's what I thought. That was my mind at that time. And when the nurse was about to leave out, then she turns around and I'm like, you are really not.
Yeah, you're like, be on your way, lady.
Go. So she turned around. She said, I don't know what's going on. It's like her whole head was like, I don't know why I'm saying this. She said just like that. But something's telling me whatever you're thinking about, the person that passed away would not want you to do this. You are too special. You're like a diamond. She said something about it. She kept saying a diamond in the rough or a diamond somewhere. So she said something about diamonds. And I'm telling you, like the switch came here and the switch came here, just like boop.
Wow.
And that started that seed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was your earth angel in that moment for sure.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. And till this day, I know that was God. I mean, I just know, you just have that, so first of all, saving me from myself, and then saving me to be that, like I said, that lighthouse I always tell people to the world, to let them know that you mean something. Just because other people think certain ways, that's not the truth to you, And when that came on, I went through some other roads, as we all have our stories, right? I went through different things in life. I was abused when I was in my 20s, sexually assaulted. I mean, there was so many. Then I got cancer in my 40s. I mean, the list goes on, like they say.
Yeah.
But I know through all of that, I kept saying to myself, and I kept going back to that part where she was telling me that I need to stay here, and my dad, because I know dad was talking through her, that I had to put this out here. I had to be a pillar. I had to be that lighthouse for women and men that doesn't think that they're nothing, that they're not worthy.
Wow. And so that translates today into this experience that you bring forward for people to recognize and value their worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hear their voice and whatever, because it's funny, because I was just thinking the other day, because I'm dealing with a few of my clients right now, and I'm dealing with all different levels. Ones that haven't even been on screen, scared to even look at a video, to the ones that are like, oh yeah, I know this, and you have all the different levels. And now I'm dealing with the one that's really just nervous, and he's like, I can't do it. I can't do this. I said, what are you talking about? We've been working for 2 months now. You're going to do. He said, I can't. No, we don't want to listen to me. I said, that's the same exact thing they told me. That's why we're together right now. So that when he said that, Elena, that just put more in me of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm on the right track.
Yes, absolutely. And, that's coming from that place that doesn't want to see you do good. That does, because they know that the blessing that you are bringing to other people. And that's the fight against, we have to bring these blessings forward, and we have to do the work to show that God is present, like in all these things, but it's going to be challenged, and it's going to creep in, and so when your client has the thoughts like that, it's like, that is actually confirmation that you are doing something good, because it doesn't, because that good doesn't that other side doesn't want the good to be done. So my goodness. So for people that want to get to know more about like the work that you're doing, how would they contact you? What does that look like? Who are you looking for? All those things.
Well, right now I'm looking for individuals, like I said, that from, nervous to don't really have confidence to really want to shine in their business, because I really want to help entrepreneurs in their business to show up with their passion. Because sometimes when we're in our business, we're so busy doing. And then sometimes we forget why we're doing what we're doing in our business or who we're looking for, like clients and stuff. And that's where I feel like this whole branding, because I call it branding TV streaming show, to brand you so people know who you are. You can bring in people that are like you or opposite. I mean, there's a lot of things we do. I do the whole production, everything for them. But the biggest thing I'm looking for is just people to know who they are in their business and why they do what they do. That's one thing that's the biggest thing in my heart, to help people, because, I just like platforms. It's like, Elena, her platform, beautiful, powerful. If these platforms weren't here, I think I'd be lost. I would. I think I'd be totally a little lost there. So I'm glad that they're being created for individuals. And that's why, I would love to see people come in and then we just walk through whatever is needed.
Yes.
Everybody's at different levels.
Yeah.
You can't be a cookie cutter with that. Yeah. You have to, because everybody you're dealing with is going to be coming in with something different. So, yeah.
I love that. And so for you, like, what's next? Like, what do you have on the forefront? Are there any events you got going on, or people? Because again, this, as a sponsor, this is for you, for your business, to just highlight what you're doing. How would people reach out to you?
Well, they can reach out to me. Well, I would say, and no, I'll say this is too long, but so I'll just say Barbara Beckley95@yahoo.com. You can email me there. Also, what's coming that's up for me right now, I'm working with, because I talked about my DFN broadcast studio, which I work with people and help them with their show. But there's something that I'm really working on called Lights, Camera, Action. And basically, it's a program that, because I'm noticing now that when people come to me, they're like, yeah, I want to do a show, And then the first thing I ask them is, well, why you want to do a show? What's the reason for the show? And they're like,
like, I don't know, just turn it on. Let's go.
Let's go. What do you use? StreamYard, what? YouTube, So I'm finding out that sometimes I have to pedal back with people, because it is bigger than just a show now. It's not just having the show. I always tell people, people like, oh, I can go to YouTube. Yeah, you can. And I'm saying, but this is bigger than that. This is about you and your brand, who you are. So I'm creating Lights, Camera, Action. And it's basically an 8-week program that I'm putting together to help people so we can be in that orbit of the why. And what are you really trying to put out there? And who are you really looking for? Did somebody tell you that you need these clients? Or is it something that is really intent that you want to work with? I've been in both. I've been where I had clients where I'm like, okay, what did I just do? I'm going to fire a client. I'm like, ooh. I said, I really fired a client.
What did I just do? That's what
I just do, this person. Yeah, then you got the ones that you're looking for. You don't, know, because you're so busy going after or thinking in your mind, or somebody told you something. So I just found out that now I said, let me create something where we can walk through the process with people, and then, invite them if they do or not, if they want to show or not. That's not the really reason. The reason now is I just want to get you to point A to B to say the why, and get through that.
Yeah. And that is that compass, like once you've dug through and you've got that starting point and you've got that clear, that remains the compass that will guide you, because man, is it easy to go like all this and that. And so at least by establishing that. So that's awesome. So do you, with that 8-week program, do you have like specific starting dates, or does somebody just come in at any time and that starts their 8-week?
Yeah, they can come. This is an individual process. So they can come in anytime they buy the package. Like I said, it's 8 weeks. We'd be working along side to side and going through weekly sections of their business, because I didn't want to I was thinking about the group thing, which I've done that before, but I'm seeing the need so much, Elena, of how people really need to they're struggling, with their whys and stuff. And sometimes in a group, they can't really talk the way they want to, but when on the one-on-ones, we can get a little bit more. So, and then I'm like, oh, in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's what it is. In their mind, they're like, well, what you think? And I'm seeing it and they're not seeing it. And then we can talk without everybody listening sometimes, because people don't want that sometimes. So I decided to do that structure.
Nice. That's really comforting, for somebody to know that it's individual work, that because if you're digging into the why, you're digging into some deep stuff.
You got that right. You did it with me.
So when we are coming in from anybody, like, we're gonna have a blast on Saturday, because we're the late night owl crew, and we're the point where it goes uncensored and like just come in, anything goes. So we'll have a lot of fun with that. So what I've been doing with the sponsors, giving you the opportunity to just ask me anything that you want to ask. And this has been so, like, I don't know why I got this idea today at the very, I wasn't planning on it, but at the very start of the sponsors, it just hit me. And so I thought maybe that person wanted to ask me something, and it's triggered that comment. And so I've done this with everyone today, and it's really been a lot of fun. So do you have a question for me that you would love to ask me?
Oh my God, now you put me in the hot seat.
I know somebody said, like, wow, I didn't know this was coming. I'm like, yep, I didn't warn anybody.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm gonna ask you this, because we've been knowing each other for a while, and I just know your heart is so wonderful. What gives you like just full, just peace, just peace with what you do within your business?
Okay, so peace within my business.
Yeah.
I would honestly have to say that in the moments of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if execution, like like when the event is happening, or the, Besitos lipstick party is in motion. So what would you call that? Like when the show is launching and playing, like when it's actually happening, is that when like the project is executed? I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for.
I would say, because I would say that, because it's moving forward. I mean, you're doing it. Yeah, you're in it. Yeah.
So for me, it's in that moment of, in like, while it's live, while it's happening, that brings me the most peace. So I'm going to use my Surrender to Rise event that happened in May in Texas. Okay. You've got the turmoil and the anxiety and the stresses and the to-dos and the swag bag. Like, you've got all this stuff and all this planning and all this preparation, and you're hoping it's this, and you're, the coordinating of all that. My moment of peace is when it's happening, because at that point, there's nothing more you can do but enjoy it and sit back and watch, even the things that don't go right, even the things that didn't go as planned, but you're in the moment, and there's nothing else that you can do. So you are sitting in that place of peace.
Yeah.
So, for example, this coming weekend, once 10 a.m. Eastern hits and we're live, I'm going to be in peace. Why? Because it's happening and you just flow with it. And because it's live, I know that some people don't show, some people like it gets, but I'm not checking my phone. I'm not like, I'm in peace. I'm enjoying the moment. So I would say in business, for me, how I find that peace is when I've taken what I set my mind to do, and I'm actually sitting in it. That's peace.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's something about, I resonate with you with that, Queen, because it's something about once, like you said, executed and it's all done and you're just in the zone with it. It just brings it to the level because like, wow, this is happening. It's moving. Everything we put together, everything that was done, all the, like you said, the nights, the tiredness, all that stuff is like, okay, and it was worth it. Yeah.
I almost, how I love to work in the visuals. I almost feel like you're in the eye of the storm.
Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Everything in business, like everything in business is constant, like it's constant, people are moving, this is so I just envision that as like just this turmoil. But when you're sitting in the eye of it, that's the most peace. And to me, you can only be in the eye of it when it's happening. Like when you're just sitting in what's happening right now. So I don't think you can plan for peace. I don't think, I think it's just that moment that you kind of like let it go and just you're in the middle of it. So
I like that. Yeah.
So that's a good question. That's why I'm like, I love these questions because it makes you like some of these questions I would have never thought like that I got asked today, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for your lights, camera, action, and the Diamond Factor Network, it's the broadcasting studio, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So what do you want your listeners to know right now as the sponsor, to have your moment to tell them whatever it is that you need to tell them?
I just want all the listeners to know that you are definitely a lighthouse to the world because of what you bring from right here. I have to leave that. I leave that with everybody every time I'm on video or whatever. I always want to end like that because I want people to really understand. Remember the stories that we told, Elena's story, a lot of stories, but that didn't stop us because of their uniqueness. People didn't see the uniqueness as a gift. A lot of people were looking at my uniqueness as ugly or something's wrong with it or you're strange. But it was there put in me because it's a gift to help other people that will resonate, that needed to have somebody, go out there for 24 hours to do a stream-a-thon. They need to see that so they can say to themselves, well, you know what? She did it and everything's going right for her. Why can't I do it? Maybe I can start a 2-hour, start there if you don't want to do 24 hours. But when you see the lighthouses lighting up, you bringing people in so they can have the hope that you're giving them. So that's what I wanted to kind of leave, Elaine.
Amazing. That is beautiful. And it does. The new hashtag that I'm using this year is Hope Never Sleeps.
I like that.
As we're up for 24 hours, but yeah, hope never sleeps.
There's a lot of hope.
I'll be hoping I get through. So
you will get through it, and you have a party.
But thank you so much, Queen, for sharing a part of your evening with us, and it was so wonderful to see you, hear your voice, hear your laughter, and honestly, just thank you for the love and support. And I'm looking forward to spending time with you during this weekend's Stream-a-thon, and
can't wait.
Just keep doing your thing, man. Yeah.
Thank you, Queen. Appreciate you.
All righty. We'll see ya. Bye. Love you. All righty, guys. And that is a wrap. We have heard from every sponsor that is supporting the 4th annual Christmas in July 24-hour live stream-a-thon. Again, it is going to be taking place on YouTube. All right. You're going to need to go to YouTube, search for Prospera TV Network. And in the live section, the event is already there. So be sure to click to be notified. I think it marks you waiting. I don't really even know how that works, but I do know that that is where you will catch us all live. You can comment from there. You will see over 50 plus. Some people are still strolling in that want to be able to find a time slot to be part of it. So we've got 1 day left, and that is it. So thank you so much for being here with me. We have been here since this morning, but we're doing it. So tomorrow, you probably won't hear much from me as I get myself prepared for Saturday morning. So thank you so much. Much love to you. And we will see you on Saturday.